In my past life, Gu Mingze married me through an arranged match by the organization, but after we married, he was incredibly cold towards me, never once stepping into my room our entire lives. I always thought it was because he was reclusive and a germaphobe, which was why he didn't want to touch me. It wasn't until his ex-girlfriend showed up that I realized he was simply saving himself for another woman. Now, back in the 80s, I'd decided to let us both go and initiate the divorce. But he panicked. 1985, Beijing Military Region Training Ground, Wanrong. Look at your commander Gu, he's so handsome. Jiang Ru, standing beside me, nudged me and teased, pointing at Gu Mingze, who was leading troops in training on the field. Following the direction of her finger, I saw Gu Mingze from 30 years ago, young and clad in military uniform. He stood out among the fresh recruits, possessing a charm that could instantly make hearts race with envy. I stared at him. A sudden sting in my eyes. I can't believe I'm actually back. I was back in the second year of my marriage to Gu Mingze. Gu Mingze and our union was actually quite unexpected. He was the youngest regimental commander in the Haiqing military region, barely out of his youth, while I was just an utterly ordinary village girl. It was pure luck that I worked in the cultural troupe, and through the organization's matchmaking, we serendipitously ended up together. For Gu Mingze, getting married might have just been a compromise, but I gave him my genuine affection. I truly saw him as my husband. He was all I thought about, all I cared for. Yet, a lifetime of devotion never earned his compassion. He never touched me after we got married. I always thought he was just cold by nature, but it wasn't until that woman showed up that I realized it wasn't a personality issue at all. He simply didn't love me. Wanrong, what are you spacing out for? Training's over. Your Commander Gu is calling for you. I snapped my head up and saw Gu Mingze striding towards me with his long legs. He had a faint smile on his face. Wanrong, thanks for waiting for me. You must be hungry. Let's go grab a bite. I looked into Gu Mingze's dark eyes, a mix of emotions swirling within me. It was always like this in my past life. He was consistently gentle and considerate towards me, as if he truly cared, but I knew it was all a facade, until his dying breath in my past life. He was calling out another woman's name. The thought left a bitter taste in my mouth. I didn't know how I could face him. Just as I was about to refuse, his orderly came running over. Commander Gu, there's a woman named Lin Cece at the gate asking for you. She says it's urgent. Gu Mingze's expression tightened at the mention of that name. Alright, I'll be right there. With that, he didn't even glance at me, turning and hurrying towards the camp entrance. Jiangru watched Gu Mingze walk away without a backward glance and asked curiously, who is Lin Cece? Why did Commander Gu get so flustered when he heard her name? I lowered my head, suppressing the sting in my eyes. I'm not sure, but seeing how anxious he is, she must be someone very important. Indeed, it's so important that I can't let it go, not even until I die. If that's the case, then why did you marry me in the first place? 2. Suppressing the tightness in my chest, I stopped paying attention to Gu Mingze. I had dinner with Jiangru at the cafeteria, then went back to the family compound. Opening the door, the room was pitch black. Gu Mingze, as expected, hadn't returned. By my reckoning, Lin Cece should have just become a widow around this time, and she'd be coming to Gu Mingze for help looking after her and her orphan child. I have to say, Gu Mingze truly had deep feelings for Lin Cece. No matter how busy he was, if Lin Cece called for him, he'd drop everything and be there in an instant. And as for this home, he became an afterthought, someone easily dispensable. In my past life, Gu Mingze's blatant favoritism towards Lin Cece drove me insane with jealousy. I couldn't help but break down and cry in front of him so many times. All I got in return was his cold accusation. Cece is my childhood friend. How can you be so narrow-minded and jealous of her? It's simply unreasonable. Looking back now, I truly feel pathetic. I literally drove myself insane, all for someone who clearly didn't care about me. But it's okay, I'm not going to let myself be this pathetic ever again. I took off the silver ring on my hand and whispered, Gu Mingze, I've decided to let go, for both our sakes. From now on, you and Lin Cece can do whatever you want. 3. Gu Mingze's room was still perfectly tidy when I woke up this morning. He didn't come back last night, but he didn't even send his orderly to let me know. It was always like this in my last life. As long as Lin Cece was around, he'd forget everything else. He forgot he had a home, and he forgot about me. Yet, his absence kept me awake, worrying through the night. I was scared he might have gone off on some dangerous mission. Looking back now, it really wasn't worth it. I clutched the dull ache in my chest, telling myself this was the last time I'd suffer over him. I won't waste any more emotion or time on him ever again, from now on. I'm living for myself. After freshening up, I headed straight to the military region's art troupe. I recall around this time, the cultural troupe was casting for the lead in a new play. If you performed well, you could tour major military regions, and maybe even get recommended to an art university. In my last life, I was so focused on taking care of Gu Mingze, not wanting to be too far from him, that I gave up every chance I had to make something of myself. I spent my whole life as an obscure member of the cultural troupe, completely wasting my talent and all those years of hard work. People would gossip behind my back my whole life, saying a country girl like me had no business being with Gu Mingze. Now that I don't want Gu Mingze anymore, those concerns are obviously gone. I'm going to seize every opportunity to live the brilliant life I deserve. I absolutely cannot waste this chance at a new life. Once I got to the cultural troupe, I found the director and handed in my application. "Director, I'd like to sign up." The director looked up, saw it was me, and clearly froze for a second before beaming. "Xiao Chen, so you've finally decided to join us this time. You're such a talented comrade. Why are you so attached to home? All those years of hard training, wasted." "Alright, I've got your application. Go back and prepare well. This is a rare opportunity, so make sure you seize it." I clenched my fists. "Understood, Commander. I won't let the organization down. Yes, I won't fail again." 5. For the next 10+ days, Gu Mingze didn't come home, and I didn't have the time to care what he was doing. I practically lived in the practice room, day and night, completely obsessed with dance. Jiangru tried to get me to relax, to take a break, but I just shook my head at her kind suggestion. I had this burning drive inside me. I needed this opportunity too much. It would not only allow me to prove myself, but also help me escape this place and my loveless marriage to Gu Mingze. The audition for the lead role arrived as scheduled. I gave it my all during the audition. My rendition of "Farewell to the Red Army" was grand and moving, like a song and a lament. When I finished, I saw the director's approving look and knew I had nailed it. When the results were posted, I was indeed in first place. The next day, I excitedly rushed to the cultural troupe, eager to rehearse the new play, only to find the rehearsal room completely empty. Everyone was also looking at me strangely. Jiangru hurried over and said, "Wanrong, this is bad. They're saying the lead role in the new play is being recast, and you've been replaced." A sudden chill ran through my veins, a dense, throbbing pain welled up in my heart. "Who replaced me?" Jiangru looked at me sympathetically. "I'm not sure, but they're in the commander's office right now. You should go quickly and see if you can still fight for it." I rushed to the commander's office. As I knocked and opened the door, I saw a military green figure, startlingly familiar. It was my husband, who had been missing for so long. Standing beside him was a woman in a blue plaid dress. They were standing incredibly close, looking exceptionally intimate. They looked like a match made in heaven. Seeing that, my heart seized up, a bitter taste filled my mouth, and even breathing became difficult. Even though I'd told myself a million times to stop caring about Gu Mingze, seeing him truly standing with his ex-girlfriend still made my heart ache uncontrollably. My fingernails dug into my palms as I told myself to stay calm. Then I walked to the center of the room and asked Director Zhang, "Director, why are you replacing my lead actor?" Director Zhang looked at Gu Mingze and me in surprise. "Xiao Chen, didn't Director Gu tell you? After careful consideration, Comrade Lin Cece is a better fit for the lead role, so Director Gu has already given it to her. You've been replaced." Replaced? My heart felt like it had been punched. I stared at Gu Mingze, utterly bewildered, as if I'd never known him before. How dare he give the lead role I fought so hard for to his ex-girlfriend? "I object," I heard myself say. Gu Mingze shot me a sharp glance, as if scolding me for being unreasonable. The troop leader sighed. "Xiao Chen, I know you feel wronged, but, Commander Zhang, I'll explain it to her." Gu Mingze interrupted the commander, then added, "Comrade Lin Cece, I'll have to trouble you to look after her." With that, he grabbed my arm, trying to pull me out of the room. As I was leaving, my eyes inadvertently met Lin Cece's. Our eyes locked, and she gave me a slight smile. His eyes gleamed with blatant, malicious mockery. A pang hit me, and I violently shook off Gu Mingze's hand. "Let go. Why are you dragging me away? Can't we talk here?" Gu Mingze looked at me coldly. "Can you stop making a scene here? I'm not saying anything more here to save you some face." I stared at Gu Mingze, bewildered. "Give me face? What face do I need you to give me? I earned this role through my own abilities, but how capable are you, really?" don't you know, you're from a village, a middle school dropout who never even attended a proper school. How can you compare to Lin Cece, who graduated from an arts academy? This lead role was always meant for her, whether you admit it or not. She's simply a better fit than you, Chen Wanru. You are simply not worthy of this lead role. My chest felt like it had a gaping hole, with a constant draft of cold air blowing through it. All these years in the cultural troupe, I've certainly attracted my share of envy and dirty looks. Everyone said I was just a country girl with only a middle school education, and that getting on stage was pure dumb luck, that sooner or later, I'd fall flat on my face. I've heard those words countless times, but they've never really bothered me. I know my capabilities. I've gotten to where I am today purely through my own efforts, never by luck. Also I could get on stage, also I could stay with the cultural troupe I loved. I danced day and night, pushing myself until my feet were covered in blisters and my back ached with injuries. But I never imagined those hurtful words would one day come from my own husband's mouth. So, he never respected me at all. A tear suddenly streamed down my face, and I heard myself say, Gu Mingzi, let's get a divorce. 6. Lin Cece ended up snatching the lead role from me. Somehow, what happened in the director's office got out, especially Gu Mingzi's disdain for me. Everyone's been spreading it with vivid embellishments. Now, no matter where I go, I can't escape the whispers and gossip. Do you think Chen Wanru slept her way into the cultural troupe back then? Otherwise, why would Commander Gu look down on her so much? Don't even say it. That's probably exactly why. Otherwise, why would Commander Gu dislike her so much? They've been married for a year now, and her belly is still flat. Maybe Commander Gu finds her dirty and doesn't even want to touch her. Yes, that must be it. Ugh, that's disgusting. My hands were clenched into fists, nails digging into my palms, but I didn't feel a thing. Disgusting. No, I'm not the one who's dirty. It was Gu Mingzi. It was Lin Cece. It was those who gossiped about these matters. 7. As Lin Cece officially joined the troupe and began rehearsals, the gossip about me has intensified. I used to love my profession, working in the cultural troupe, and dancing, but now, every day, it takes immense courage for me to even step foot into the troupe's building. The pervasive whispers, thumbtacks inexplicably appearing in my dance shoes, and my practice clothes vanishing into thin air. Every little thing was grating on my nerves. Everyone was just waiting to see me fail, wondering when Gu Mingzi would finally dump a country bumpkin like me, who clearly didn't know her place. After my foot was pricked by a thumbtack for what felt like the 100th time, I stared blankly at my bleeding soul, feeling like I was truly at my breaking point. 8. Chen Wanrong. Commander Zhang is looking for you. Someone called out to me from outside. Commander Zhang looking for her now? That can't be good. Yeah, maybe Commander Zhang found out about her misconduct, and now he's going to make an example out of her. Exactly, that must be it. I looked down, put on my socks, and walked out under the watchful, expectant eyes of Lin Cece and everyone else, pushing open the door to the commander's office. I saw Commander Zhang sitting behind his desk, frowning deeply as he smoked. Commander, you wanted to see me. Commander Zhang's brow furrowed even deeper when he saw me. Xiao Chen, you've lost so much weight. I forced a strained smile. No, I've always been like this. Commander Zhang sighed. Xiao Chen, I know you feel wronged by what happened this time, and I feel for you. Honestly, that Lin Cece can't hold a candle to you. What kind of dancing was that? And she's supposed to be a performing arts graduate, completely unprofessional. At this point, I've given up all hope of this new play winning any awards. I just hope it doesn't embarrass me. I really don't know what your Commander Gu was thinking, siding with an outsider over his own wife. Does he really not know you're so much better than Lin Cece? I lowered my head, hiding the mist in my eyes. Doesn't he know? Maybe he does. He just didn't care, whether in my past life or this one. Between Lin Cece and me, I was never the one he chose. Commander Zhang took a deep drag from his cigarette. Xiao Chen, you missed out on the lead role in the new play, but there's still an opportunity to go to the military headquarters for a 2-year exchange and study program. If you perform well there, you might even be able to stay. Xiao Chen, would you like to go? Maybe I could stay there. Hearing that, my eyes lit up instantly. It was as if the thick fog that had been hanging over me for days had finally begun to clear. Commander, I want to go. Thank you. I expressed my heartfelt gratitude. This opportunity means the world to me. I'm desperate to get out of this toxic place, and I'm just as desperate to completely cut ties with Gu Mingzi and Lin Cece. The squad leader said there's only one chance for this exchange and learning opportunity. and told me to keep it under wraps until the official document is released, but the announcement should be coming out in the next few days. With that hope in sight, the following days didn't feel as unbearable, even though the gossip and bullying from everyone continued. I guess I can live with it for now, but Gu Mingzi still hadn't shown up. It wasn't until Tuesday, after work, that I went to the market to buy some groceries. On my way back, I saw a military jeep parked in front of the hospital. It looked familiar, so I couldn't help but take a second look. Then, I saw Gu Mingzi, whom I hadn't seen in days, walking out of the hospital with Lin Cece, holding a little girl in his arms. The little girl said something, and both Lin Cece and Gu Mingzi burst into laughter. They looked incredibly harmonious, just like a real family. The harmonious atmosphere that had just settled between Gu Mingzi and the others instantly froze when they saw me standing in front of the car. In the silence, Lin Cece was the first to speak. Sister Wanrong, my Xiaoxiao suddenly came down with a fever, and Mingzi was worried, so he brought us to the hospital. You know how much Xiaoxiao adores her dad Mingzi, so please don't mind. 9. Lin Cece's words carried an undisguised boast. I shook my head. I don't mind, whatever. With that, I grabbed my groceries and started to walk around them, heading home, but the next second, Gu Mingzi took the grocery bag from my hand. I'll walk you home, he offered. I glanced at Lin Cece and the child in her arms, then, annoyed, I said, no need. Gu Mingzi held on to the bag, not letting go, and insisted, you have a lot to carry, let me walk you. Lin Cece stared intently at Gu Mingzi's hand, forcing a strained smile as she said, exactly, Wanrong, let's head back together. I snatched the bag away. I told you I don't need it. Then, without a backward glance, she walked away. There were a few scattered pedestrians on the road, and coincidentally, everyone seemed to be out in pairs. My eyes involuntarily welled up. I fiercely rubbed my slightly reddened eyes, telling myself this was the last time. Once the papers came through, I'd officially divorce Gu Mingzi. From then on, whatever happened between him and Lin Cece would be none of my business. Back home, I had a quick bite to eat. I've started packing my things. Commander Chen said the official notice would be issued in the next day or two, and once it's out, we'll have to leave immediately, barring any unforeseen circumstances. This departure will be permanent. I need to get everything packed up. The door was pushed open from the outside. Gu Mingzi was back, though I had no idea when he'd returned. He saw the luggage in my hand, and his brows furrowed sharply. Wanrong, what are you doing? Cece and I are really just friends. Can you please stop being so unreasonably jealous? I said calmly. You don't need to tell me about the two of you. I don't care. Gu Mingzi's brows relaxed at my words. Wanrong, it's good that you see it that way. Cece just lost her husband and has a child. She needs our help the most right now. We really should look out for her more. I nodded. You're right. She does need more care. Hearing me say that, Gu Mingzi visibly relaxed, a faint smile gracing his stern face. But before his smile could fully reach his eyes, he heard me say, so, to help you take better care of her, I've decided to divorce you. Gu Mingzi, let's get a divorce, then you can openly take care of them, mother and child. Gu Mingzi's face completely darkened. Chen Wanrong, you're being utterly unreasonable. How many times do I have to tell you that Cece and I are just friends, nothing more? Don't ever bring up divorce again, I won't agree to it. With that, Gu Mingzi stormed off in a huff. I watched Gu Mingzi walk away, but my heart remained completely unmoved. Gu Mingzi, you say you're just friends, but do you honestly believe that yourself, or have you told yourself that lie so many times you actually started to believe it? In your past life, you called out her name right up until your last breath. You kept calling out Lin Cece's name in front of so many leaders and comrades. You utterly trampled on my dignity as your original wife. I'm the one who wished I were dead. Gu Mingzi, I don't want to be entangled with you anymore in this life. I would never endure such humiliation again. 10. After that day, Gu Mingzi disappeared once more. Lin Cece, however, started showing up in front of me frequently, relying on her status as the troop's current darling. She ordered me around daily, fetching tea and pouring water, but even that wasn't enough for her. She even wanted me to play a supporting role in her new play, Comrade Wanrong. I really didn't want to bother you, but I can't find anyone else to play this small supporting role now. I'm afraid I'll have to trouble you, Lin Cece said, her voice dripping with arrogance. Jiangru squeezed my hand, trembling with anger. She's really going too far. Wanrong, don't go. I bristled at Lin Cece's arrogance, but then I remembered I was about to leave this place for good. Best not to stir up any more trouble. So what if it's just a supporting role? I'll take it. I patted Jiangru's hand reassuringly. It's fine, there's nothing wrong with being a supporting character. Yes, what's wrong with being a supporting character anyway? Supporting roles can shine too. Lin Cece was wrong, she thought she could humiliate me this way. But she didn't know the stage has always been mine. Even in a supporting role, I can still deliver a brilliant performance. After the rehearsal, fewer people were badmouthing me than before. Instead, rumors about Lin Cece started to multiply. Seriously, say what you will about Chen Wanrong's personal style, but her professional skills are undeniable. She made even a minor role with just a few moves shine so brightly. Exactly, I totally conceded defeat to her in the last competition. I genuinely don't know how Lin Cece managed to get this role over her. Lin Cece can't even do a split when she dances. Right, it was so stiff, I couldn't even watch. I'd much rather Chen Wanrong had been the lead this time. Lin Cece, she can't even hold a candle to Chen Wanrong's pinky toe. Jiangru, listening to the conversation of the people across from us, hooked her arm through mine, grinning like a cat that had just gotten the cream. Wanrong, you really know how to play your cards. You've proven everyone wrong with your sheer talent. That Lin Cece, she wanted to humiliate you, but now she's totally shot herself in the foot, hasn't she? What do you think? If your Commander Gu knew about this, would he regret replacing you back then? Would Gu Mingzi regret it? I thought for a moment, then said calmly, it doesn't matter anymore, you go on in, I need to find the commander, he just said he had something to tell me. After parting ways with Jiangru, I headed straight for the commander's office. He'd just sent someone to fetch me, so I figured the official documents must have finally arrived. Finally, I can get out of this suffocating place. I excitedly ran up to the second floor, only to unexpectedly bump into Lin Cece right at the top of the stairs. She glared at me, her face full of resentment. Chen Wanrong, are you very pleased with yourself? Confused, I asked. Pleased about what? Lin Cece leaned closer to me. Pleased that everyone's now praising your professional skills as superior to mine, and saying you should have been the lead actress. Even Gu Mingzi says he owes you, and now he doesn't even want to spend time with me and Xiao Xiao. Aren't you just thrilled? I looked at Lin Cece's contorted face. Didn't you bring all of this upon yourself? Lin Cece, when you force something that isn't yours, this is the outcome. Like Lin Cece to this lead role. Like Gu Mingzi to me. Nothing good ever comes from forcing things. But Lin Cece didn't understand what I was saying. She forced a strange smile at me and said, Chen Wanrong, you can't beat me. Since you won't let me have peace, I won't let you off the hook either. I'm going to make your life a living hell. With that, she leaned back and fell straight down the stairs. Thud, blood bloomed like a flower beneath Lin Cece. Lin Cece shrieked, help, Chen Wanrong is trying to kill me. Amidst the commotion, I heard the screech of military jeep brakes outside. Then Gu Mingzi, who hadn't been seen for days, rushed in like a gust of wind and carefully picked up Lin Cece, who was lying on the ground screaming. Mingzi, Chen Wanrong tried to kill me. She's the one who pushed me. I'm so scared. If I die, what will happen to Xiao Xiao? Gu Mingzi lifted his dark, heavy eyes and looked at me as if I were already dead. His look of utter loathing pierced me, and I felt my blood run cold. My breath catching in my throat, I instinctively retorted, no, Mingzi, she fell on her own, it had nothing to do with me. Shut up, you're still trying to deny it. Gu Mingzi looked at me with profound disappointment. You are truly malicious. Someone, call the police, get this murderer locked up for intentional homicide. 11. I was taken away by the police in front of everyone. Dusk was settling in, and rain began to fall from the night sky. The detention center was terrifyingly cold and eerily dark. I don't know how things ended up like this. I was so close to getting the documents, so close to leaving this place, leaving Gu Mingzi and Lin Cece behind. How did I still end up in such a predicament? Gu Mingzi, Lin Cece, you two are truly something else. I don't know how many days I spent in there, but after another sunrise, the detention center doors finally opened. Then Gu Mingzi walked in. The moment I saw Gu Mingzi, a faint glimmer of hope sparked within me. Mingzi, are you here to take me away? Gu Mingzi scoffed. After committing such a ruthless act, do you really think you can just walk away from here and escape punishment? Do you have any idea that because of you, Cece's right leg is shattered, and she'll never be able to dance again? Chen Wanrong, how could you be so vicious? My chest felt so tight. I instinctively stepped forward and grabbed Gu Mingzi's hand, but I really didn't do anything. Lin Cece threw herself down on purpose, Don't you know she can't even dance? Gu Ming's face darkened further, my hand was flung away, hitting the iron railing beside me with a sharp sting, but what hurt even more was my heart. You really never change, do you? Just wait here and take your punishment, atone for your sins. With that, Gu Mingze opened the door and left again. I watched his retreating back, a bitter taste in my mouth. Atonement. But what sin have I committed? 12. I thought Gu Mingze would never come back. To my surprise, he returned 2 days later. He looked at me with the same old disgust. Chen Wanrong, what you did this time was truly outrageous. You were supposed to be dishonorably discharged and even face jail time. But Cece is kind-hearted. She said that if you apologize to her in person and then publicly read an apology letter to her over the military base's broadcast, she'll issue a letter of understanding, which will keep you out of prison. But from now on, you'll have to take off this uniform. She doesn't want to see you in the cultural troupe anymore. I clenched my fists tightly. Lin Cece, how truly kind-hearted she is. I lowered my head and gave a weak smile. Well, then I really must thank her for her generosity. 13. After half a month, I finally saw the sunlight again. As soon as we got into the jeep, Gu Mingze wanted to drag me straight to the hospital to apologize to Lin Cece. I pleaded, can we please go home first? Gu Mingze said impatiently, what's the point of going home? Cece finally agreed to forgive you. You should go to her right now and apologize sincerely, even if you have to get on your knees. Get on his knees for Lin Cece. That guy really has some nerve. What makes Lin Cece so special? I clutched the corner of my clothes, stammering, but I've been in the detention center for half a month. I haven't changed my clothes or showered. I don't mind being dirty myself. But I'm afraid of passing on any germs to Lin Cece. After all, she's still a patient right now. She shouldn't be exposed to anything dirty. Gu Mingze heard what I said. Although his face was still dark, he turned the steering wheel and drove towards the family quarters. Gu Mingze didn't want to be around me. Sitting in the car, waiting for myself to go upstairs and pack, I was glad he wasn't following me. After I got back, I went straight to Gu Mingze's study and found his little voice recorder. Then I quickly tidied up, washed up, grabbed my bag, and headed downstairs. 14. At the hospital, I saw Lin Cece, who, according to Gu Mingze's description, was on the verge of death. Even though she was lying in a hospital bed, her face was radiant, looking much better than my own ghostly pale reflection. In front of Gu Mingze, I bowed deeply to Lin Cece. Comrade Lin Cece, I'm so sorry, I was completely out of my mind and did something terrible. Please, in your great generosity, forgive me. Lin Cece stared at me, silent for a long time. Just let me stay like this, head bowed, perpetually bowing. Gu Mingze didn't say a word either, as if he thought I deserved all this suffering. After an indeterminate amount of time, Lin Cece finally spoke, her voice soft and distant. Sister Wanrong, I don't really blame you. I know you misunderstood the relationship between Mingze and me, and that's why you did something so irrational. She turned her head to Gu Mingze and said, Mingze, could you please step out for a moment? There are some things I'd like to discuss privately with Wanrong. Gu Mingze shot me a warning glance, then nodded and left. The moment Gu Mingze was gone, I straightened up, seeing the humiliated look on my face. Lin Cece smirked triumphantly. Chen Wanrong, you must be seething, aren't you? You did nothing wrong, yet here you are, humbling yourself and apologizing to me. Who would have thought I was the one who actually fell? Ultimately, it just goes to show you're a failure as a person. Even your own husband, Gu Mingze, doesn't trust you. You have no idea how good he's been to me and my child lately. I asked him, what if I really end up disabled? Do you know what he said? I shook my head. No. He said he'd take care of me for the rest of his life. Chen Wanrong, your husband's heart is with me now. Ha ha ha. In that case, congratulations, I said coldly. At least your leg didn't break for nothing. Lin Cece's face was twisted in a manic grin. So what if it's broken? I'm terrible at dancing anyway. I would have embarrassed myself at the official performance. Now that my leg's broken, it's perfect. It saves Mingze from finding out I lied to him and blaming me. But Chen Wanrong, there's still one more thing you need to do. I looked at Lin Cece, puzzled. Lin Cece said, I want you to divorce Gu Mingze. He's too responsible. Even with your current notorious reputation, he's still unwilling to initiate a divorce, so I'll help him out. As long as you divorce him, I'll immediately issue a letter of understanding. I hesitated. I can get a divorce, but can you please let me stay in the military? Don't let Gu Mingze discharge me. No, Lin Cece said coldly. I don't want to see you. You have to leave. Who told you to monopolize my Mingze for so long? this is your karma. Hearing this, I finally voiced the question that had puzzled me for 2 lifetimes. Lin Cece, if you loved Gumingza so much back then, why did you marry someone else? Lin Cece burst into laughter. Love him? I'd never love him. He was just a grunt back then. Why would I ever love him? It's just my bad luck that my husband died young. And he got lucky and became a regimental commander. I couldn't care less about him. Chen Wanrong, you can only blame your bad luck for getting in my way. Don't blame me for what I'm about to do. Framing you is just my first step. If you don't cooperate, I have plenty of ways to deal with you. So that's how it is. Gumingza, so your moonlight isn't all that special after all. I touched the radio in my bag and nodded. I agreed to all of Chen Wanrong's demands. As I was leaving, I stood by the door waiting for Gumingza, and overheard Lin Cece pulling him aside, saying, Mingza, do you remember, you used to say you'd marry me when we grew up, but now I'm a widow, and you're married. Fate truly plays cruel tricks, doesn't it? If we were both single right now, would what you said back then still count? I couldn't help but turn my head, only to see Gumingza patiently and gently say, yes, I would. I curved my lips into a smile, and that faint trace of resentment in my heart vanished. Gumingza, I hope you can still say these words tomorrow. 15. On the way back, I told Gumingza I wanted a divorce. Gumingza didn't say anything, just sighed. After a long silence, he finally said, Chen Wanrong, I hope you'll choose the right path from now on. We've reached this point entirely because of your own doing. I didn't reply, just offered a faint, mocking smile. Early the next morning, we went together to submit our divorce papers. Then, under the regretful gaze of our regimental commander, I took my military discharge papers and apology letter and went to the broadcasting station alone. Once at the broadcasting station, after figuring out how to use the equipment, I found an excuse to send the staff out. Then I locked the door to the broadcast room from the inside. Next, I dragged a heavy cabinet and table over to barricade the door. Once that was done, I switched on the broadcast and began reading my apology. Hello everyone, I am Chen Wanrong, former wife of Commander Gumingza. I'm here today because there's something I need to say. I'm sure you're all aware of what happened to me recently. Everyone has been calling me a wicked, evil woman, claiming I pushed Comrade Lin Cece down the stairs out of jealousy. But is that truly the whole truth? Please listen to this recording. Then I played the entire conversation I had with Lin Cece at the hospital yesterday. Following that, Lin Cece's triumphant voice clearly emanated from the broadcast, reaching the ears of everyone in the military district. Someone was banging on the door of the broadcasting room. Comrade Chen Wanrong, open up quickly. I ignored them. They tried to push it open, but with me bracing it from the inside, there was no way they were getting through that door easily. Time ticked by, second after second, and the truth of the matter became known to everyone, as did the secret affair between Lin Cece and Gumingza. And of course, I also realized how foolish Gumingza was. The recording finished playing, and the door finally opened, but instead of accusations, I was met with Jiang Ru's embrace as she rushed towards me, and the sympathetic gaze of our leader. Chen, you've been wronged, and we'll make sure justice is served. Yes, we'll go petition together with you. We will never let you suffer this injustice in vain. 16. Lin Cece is finished. Gumingza was also there when it all ended. The repercussions of this incident are severe: abusing power for personal gain, backroom dealings, framing a comrade, marital infidelity. Each of these accusations is enough to forever brand Gumingza and Lin Cece with infamy, ensuring they'll never recover. Lin Cece's reputation is completely ruined. Not only was she expelled from the cultural troupe, but she's also under investigation by the authorities for framing someone. Commander Zhang said her actions were egregious, and the punishment would be severe, not lenient. Gumingza was stripped of his regimental commander position and demoted 3 ranks. He can't stay here any longer. I heard he's being sent to the frontier to guard the borders. The environment there is harsh. Truly a good place to reform someone. Not only was my military status reinstated, but Commander Zhang also gave me the lead role in the new play, but I still refused. Given a second chance at life, I genuinely wanted to live differently. I chose to leave the military. Commander Zhang was clearly reluctant to see me go, but seeing my mind was made up, he respected my decision. He recommended me for the role of the second female lead in a TV series at a station in the south. The moment I heard the name of the series, I immediately accepted. This was the show that became a massive hit across the country in my past life, and this particular second female lead role was even more popular than the main character. Later, leveraging the success of that role, she founded her own company. She went on to build her own business empire. I must have envied this person's opportunities countless times in my past life, and now, unexpectedly, I have the same chance. I thanked Commander Zhang and accepted his kind offer. Then, with my luggage in tow, I boarded a train heading south. On the day I left, Jiang Ru came to the station to see me off. Wan Yong, Lin Cece is in jail. I heard she got 3 years, serves her right. Let's see if she dares to scheme and harm people again. And your ex-husband is a joke too. He didn't appreciate you back then, and now he's running around everywhere asking about you. He's even asked me 7 or 8 times. Pfft. Who'd tell him where you are? That jerk. His late-blooming affection is worth less than dirt. You absolutely must not forgive him. I gratefully squeezed Jiang Ru's hand. I won't forgive him, Wanrong. A cautious voice came from behind me. I turned around and saw Gu Mingze in his casual clothes. He stared at me intently, his eyes full of apology and something else I couldn't quite decipher. What are you doing here? Jiang Ru positioned herself in front of me. Like a protective little leopard, I'm warning you, Wanrong is no longer your concern. You can't bully her anymore. Gu Mingze gave a bitter laugh. How could I bully her? I just have a few things I want to say to her. Wanrong, can I have a word with you? I had never seen Gu Mingze so humbled. I glanced at my watch. There were still a few minutes left. I looked at Gu Mingze and said, you have 5 minutes. What do you want to say? Gu Mingze's eyes darkened when he heard me. Wanrong. Do we really have to be so distant? I asked, puzzled. Isn't this what you wanted? After all, how could a vicious woman like me, a country girl with no skills or education, ever be worthy of you? Hearing my words, Gu Mingze seemed to be struck speechless, swaying unsteadily. It's not like that. Wanrong, I don't know what's wrong with me. I really didn't mean to be like this, and I never looked down on you. But whenever I'm with Lin Cece, I just feel compelled to take extra care of her. She grew up with me, and she was my first love. My affection for her put a filter on my perception, but the truth is, she doesn't hold a candle to you. She's been deceiving me from the very beginning. She's the truly wicked and morally corrupt one. I'm so sorry, Wanrong. I was terribly, terribly wrong. I mistook a fisheye for a pearl. I can't believe I missed out on someone as wonderful as you, all for a woman like Lin Cece. It wasn't until we actually divorced that I realized I had fallen in love with you a long time ago. At this, Gu Mingze looked up at me, his eyes full of hope. Wanrong, you see I've been punished too. Can you forgive me just this once and let's get back together? How about we remarry? Gu Mingze's words sent a jolt through me. Then, just laughter. Gu Mingze, there's no such thing as a magic cure for regret in this world. Besides, I don't want you anymore. I shook my head. Gu Mingze, I won't remarry you. The moment you refused to give me even an ounce of trust and stood by Lin Cece's side, that was it for us. We were completely over. I knew I was terribly wrong. Gu Mingze tugged at his hair in frustration, tears streaming from his eyes. But Wanrong, I really can't bear to lose you. Please, don't leave me. Okay. I glanced down at my watch again. 5 minutes are up. Goodbye, Gu Mingze. With that, I grabbed my luggage, ready to leave. But I'd only taken a few steps when I heard a scream from behind me. I turned around and saw Gu Mingze on his knees. Wanrong, I'm so sorry. I truly messed up. Please, don't go. Jiang Ru squeezed my hand, her face etched with worry. Wanrong, you wouldn't go soft, would you? Never. Yes, never again. I pulled my gaze away, grabbed my luggage, and strode purposefully towards the train. Behind me, Gu Mingze was still shouting my name, apologizing, but none of that mattered to me anymore. Gu Mingze, a belated apology is worthless. I'm truly done with you. To the sound of train whistles, I waved goodbye to Jiang Ru. Then the train pulled away, leaving both Jiang Ru and Gu Mingze behind me. I successfully landed a role in that hit show, and as expected, it made me famous. Then, leveraging memories from my past life, I started my own company. Later, I built my entertainment empire. Many years passed before I saw Jiang Ru again. Now, she's happily married. And thanks to a few investments she made with me, her family is also quite well off, because life had always been smooth sailing for her. Even in her 40s, she still had the mindset of a pampered young girl. The moment she saw me, she started gossiping. Do you know how miserable Lin Cece's life is now? Because of her bad reputation, she couldn't find any work after getting out of prison. The last time I saw her, she was cleaning toilets at the mall. She looked so old. I almost didn't recognize her. And Gu Mingze isn't doing well either. He has a major black mark on his record. so he can forget about ever advancing in his career. I heard he never remarried, just lives alone, a perpetual bachelor, and apparently, his lungs aren't doing so great now. He's constantly on medication. Last time I saw him, he was in his 40s but looked like an old man. What do you think he was after back then? I shook my head. Maybe he just wanted something new. Typical man. I guess, I agree, Jiangru sighed. He chased that newness so hard, and now look at the mess he's in. Do you think he regrets it? I just smiled faintly, non-committal. I don't know if he regrets it or not. In any case, I have no regrets. After the divorce, my life has been incredibly fulfilling, and it will continue to be so. Ditch the boring romance, and every day will be incredibly comfortable. Story 2. After rebirth, I resolved to fake my death before Guqing could stage his. In our past life, Guqing died on the eve of our wedding. Believing I'd brought him misfortune, I spent decades in widowhood repaying his debts, and raised his younger siblings through hardship. When I was old and gravely ill, Guqing suddenly appeared with his wife and children. He said, "You held the title of my wife, but raised my siblings. Now we're even." Only then did I realize he'd faked his death years ago to elope with a classmate. The revelation made me cough up blood and rage and die. When I opened my eyes again, I resolved to fake my death first. 1. I was reborn 2 days before my wedding to Guqing. I rushed to town and bought a southbound train ticket for tomorrow morning. In my past life, it was Guqing who faked his death before the wedding. He'd secretly run off to the south with his classmate, living it up. He left me with a mountain of debt and my younger siblings to care for. This time, I'll be the one to run away first and see how he handles it. When I rushed home, I heard laughter coming from inside. It was Guqing and her classmate, Zhu Xiuqin, in the red dress I'd prepared for the wedding, twirled around like a colorful butterfly. Guqing watched her, a smile playing on his lips. He was handsome and she was graceful. They looked exactly like a couple about to get married. My entrance into the room broke the tender moment. Zhu Xiuqin flinched. I just wanted to try on a wedding dress. I never got to wear one when I got married. You know how my in-laws are. She covered her face with her hands and sobbed. Years ago, Zhu Xiuqin was forced by her parents to marry a good-for-nothing. Enduring endless hardship, she had just divorced him and returned to the village 6 months ago. But her parents and siblings treated her terribly, often denying her food. Guqing, citing their past as classmates, said she was in a pitiful state and he wanted to help her, so he often brought her home for meals, and the two were always seen together. Even though I was unhappy, my fondness for Guqing forced me to swallow my resentment and bitterness. Gradually, she became completely comfortable wearing my clothes and rummaging through my belongings in my own home. Now, I don't have to put up with it anymore. I walked up to her and said coldly, "Take off the clothes." Guqing frowned, blocking her way. "Xiaoya, let Xiuqin borrow it for a couple of days. You won't be wearing it until the day after tomorrow anyway." Guqing had already planned his pre-wedding fake death. He knew the marriage wouldn't happen, which was why he spoke with little conviction. I chuckled self-deprecatingly and reached to tear off Zhu Xiuqin's clothes. She shrieked sharply and ducked behind Guqing. Guqing instinctively shoved me, sending my body crashing into the table and toppling the tea set and dishes I'd bought for our wedding. They shattered instantly into pieces. Just like the marriage I'd envisioned, it turned out to be a scam all along. Guqing's face fell, and he moved to help me up, but the neighbors were even quicker to rush over and gawk. In the countryside, doors are usually left open during the day. I held the scissors to my neck, my face a picture of misery. "Guqing, you brought another woman to my home. And she's wearing my wedding dress. How can I possibly go on living after you've trampled all over me like this? I don't genuinely want to harm myself. This is just a setup for my feigned death tomorrow. Once I'm dead, I hope Guqing can bear the village's scorn and condemnation. In my previous life, Guqing only pretended to drown. He died the day before our wedding. Everyone in the village whispered behind my back, calling me a husband killer and a jinx. I even thought I was responsible for Guqing's death, and my heart was filled with both sorrow and guilt. Later, Brother Ma, the moneylender from our village, showed up with a huge IOU signed by Guqing, forcing me to pay off the debt. It took me over a decade of hard work to finally pay off that debt. All the while, I was raising Guqing's younger siblings, and by the time I was not yet 50, I had fallen ill from exhaustion. As I lay on my deathbed, Guqing, who had been dead 4 years, returned to our hometown, resplendent with Zhu Xiuqin and their children. He watched me, cold and indifferent, as I clung to life. "You usurped my wife's name, but you did raise my siblings. We're even now." 2. Guqing, you can't do this. Xiaoya's mother was so good to you when she was alive, and now you're trying to drive her daughter to her death. That woman got divorced herself, and now she's ruining other people's relationships. How shameless. She's nothing but a vixen. The neighbor's whispers snapped me back from my past life memories. Zhu Xiuqin frantically stripped me of my clothes, then covered her face and ran out. Once the neighbors had left, Guqing glared at me, seething with anger. Song Xiaoya, stop being so dramatic. It's just a piece of clothing, such a trivial matter. Why are you making such a big deal out of it? I looked at him calmly. Are you really going to marry me? I thought you liked Zhu Xiuqin. His eyes flickered for a moment, and he deliberately softened his tone. Xiaoya, I promised your mom I'd look after you. Can we please stop this? When Guqing was a teenager, his parents passed away one after another. His relatives, deeming him unlucky, kicked him and his young siblings out of their home. The scrawny boy knelt at our doorstep, begging for food. Seeing how pitiful the 3 siblings were, my mother took them in. Life in the countryside was tough. To ensure the 3 siblings wouldn't go hungry, my family stretched our 2-person food ration to feed 5, even on her deathbed. My mother didn't push Guqing to marry me, she just hoped someone would be there to help me if I ever fell on hard times. Guqing was the one who proposed to me, and I had feelings for him too, so I didn't object. He kept saying he wanted to repay my family, but instead, he bit the hand that fed him. Seeing my silence, Guqing thought his words had moved me. He looked troubled again. You really embarrassed Xiuqin today. Later, please invite her over for dinner and apologize. I didn't respond and went to see the village chief. The village chief had mentioned to me that our house and the surrounding land were slated to be converted into a school. In my previous life, I refused the requisition and missed out on a substantial subsidy. The paperwork was processed quickly. The village chief said he'd come to my house in a week to take possession of it. The village chief kindly asked me, with no house, where will all of you live? My expression remained unchanged as I replied, we'll find somewhere. Guqing and his siblings have been staying at my place for so long, they've probably forgotten who the real owner is. When I got home, Zhu Xiuqin was sitting with Gu Feng and Gu Yuan, who had just returned from school, all 3 of them chatting and laughing. The 2 children saw me and immediately glared. Don't you dare bully Sister Xiuqin. Zhu Xiuqin pretended to scold them, but her eyes held a mix of mockery and pity for me. She was mocking me for having taken care of these children for so long, only for them to still side with her, an outsider. In my past life, that brother-sister pair would constantly wail and curse me for bringing death upon their elder brother. Consumed by guilt, I could only compensate by treating them twice as kindly to ease my conscience. They knew full well Guqing's death was staged, yet they leeched off me without a shred of remorse. Looking back now, every pitiable soul has their own despicable side. Their relatives had good reason to drive those 3 siblings away back then. My face darkened as I snapped at the kids. This is my house, get out if you don't like it here. All these years I'd treated them like my own siblings. This was the first time I'd ever spoken so harshly. Guqing's face froze instantly. 3. Little Gu Yuan pouted, her face full of defiance. It's your own fault for being stingy. Sister Xiuqin made me malted milk and gave us candy, but you had to hide everything away. Enough. Guqing shot me a glance before scolding Gu Yuan. When I opened the cabinet, I found the wedding sweets and malted milk I'd bought were nearly all gone. Guqing looked a bit uneasy. I'll go to town tomorrow to get some more. It won't delay our wedding. Annoyed, I raised my hand and slapped Zhu Xiuqin twice. You stole from my home to curry favor. Zhu Xiuqin covered her face and stammered out an explanation. It's all just a misunderstanding. She always played the fragile damsel around Guqing, so she didn't dare fight back. Consider this the interest I'm collecting in advance for the suffering from my past life. A flash of ferocity crossed Guqing's eyes before he forcibly suppressed it. After all, he was counting on me to treat his younger siblings well once he was gone, so he wouldn't dare offend me. He spoke with some difficulty. I allowed this. Don't blame Xiuqin, she just felt sorry for the children. When my mother was alive, she treated Gu Yuan and Gu Feng, who were younger, even better than she treated me. After she passed away, I never treated them poorly either. While other kids their age were out herding cattle and foraging, I gritted my teeth and sent them to school to learn to read and write. Yet, Guqing called them pathetic. Some people are just born cold-hearted, you can't warm them up. It was only after Guqing gave them a look that Gu Yuan and Gu Feng reluctantly apologized to me. Sister Xiaoya, we shouldn't have said those things about you. We're sorry. I kept a straight face. You're living under someone else's roof, you should act like it, you. Guqing shot to his feet, his eyes fixed on me. Song Xiaya, we've lived together for so many years, doesn't that count for anything? Heh, so he does know we used to have a connection. Zhu Xiuqin kept signaling Guqing with her eyes, and only then did the chill in his gaze slowly recede. He gave me a helpless smile. Xiaya, they're still young, they'll definitely change later. I'm leaving anyway. So whether they change or not, it won't concern me anymore. Just then, someone outside the door called Gu Cheng's name. The moment I heard the voice, I knew it was Brother Ma, the moneylender from our village. After all, in my previous life, he had come to our door many times, armed with huge IOUs signed by Gu Cheng, and threatened me with harsh words. The moment I heard his voice, my heart would instinctively race, while I was losing sleep over the debts. Gu Cheng was living it up with Zhu Xiuqin down south. Gu Cheng shot me a nervous glance and hurried out. It might be someone from the factory, I'll go check. Through the window, I saw Gu Cheng making a gesture to Brother Ma. He'd borrowed more money than in his previous life. Maybe I haven't been as submissive lately as I was in my past life. He held a grudge and deliberately sought to punish me. In an era when the average annual income was 200 yuan, he borrowed 10,000 yuan with exorbitant interest. Even living frugally, an ordinary person would need decades to repay such debt. In my past life, I worked 3 jobs and sold my family home, yet it still took years to clear the debts he owed. Without me playing the fool this time, I wonder how Guqing will handle the ruthless Brother Ma after borrowing money. 4. Zhu Xiuqin clearly understood what Guqing was up to. She shot me a smug glance and remarked casually, "They say leather shoes and wool coats are all the rage down south now. Wonder if they actually look good." In my past life, the last time I saw her, she was indeed dressed like a noble woman. Without me shouldering their burdens this lifetime, I wonder if they'll still get to gallivant down south. I sneered, "You can't even afford meals without mooching off my family. How could you possibly buy this?" A flash of envy crossed Zhu Xiuqin's eyes, but it quickly twisted into malicious glee. She probably realized that tomorrow she'd be eloping with Gu Cheng, while I'd be left to deal with a complete mess. Gu Feng and Gu Yuan deliberately only chatted with Zhu Xiuqin, completely ignoring me. I didn't mind. I ate heartily, knowing it was my last chance to enjoy hometown cooking. Gu Cheng's beaming face suggested he'd successfully borrowed money. Zhu Xiuqin took Gu Yuan and Gu Feng out for a walk. Gu Cheng sat beside me with heavy sighs before saying, "Gu Feng will likely marry in a few years. Life's hard enough for girls when helping choose her husband. You must be discerning, and make sure Gu Yuan applies himself to his studies. See, he understands everything perfectly, yet still heartlessly left me mired in this mess." I chuckled. "Don't worry, Gu Feng will marry someone as decent as you, just like I did, and Gu Yuan will grow into an honorable man who repays kindness. Exactly like you." Gu Cheng froze momentarily, recognizing my words as a veiled curse rather than a blessing. Feigning humor, I said, "You're not on your deathbed, brother. Why are you talking to me like you're giving last instructions?" Suddenly, heavy footsteps echoed outside. Zhu Xiuqin's ex-husband, Lua Run, had come knocking. He eyed me sideways with suspicion. "I heard you've been inviting my wife over for meals. What's your game? Got a thing for her?" I stared at Guqing in disbelief as he averted his gaze. Turned out he'd been bringing Zhu Xiuqin home repeatedly, using my name as an excuse. No wonder Zhu Xiuqin's ex-husband in my past life suspected Guqing after her disappearance. But since Guqing was already dead by then, he directed all his rage at me instead. He vented his anger by breaking my leg with a stick. I limped for the rest of my life, swallowing my hatred. I pretended not to understand. "Oh, I don't really know her," I said, turning back to Guqing. "Didn't you say you invited her over out of goodwill for a classmate? You've been coming home so late these past few nights. Were you with Zhu Xiuqin?" Lua Run was a big, burly man, and even more of a simpleton. Hearing my words, his face instantly contorted with rage, and he slapped Guqing hard across the face. "Anyone who lays a hand on my wife, I'll kill them. Got it?" Only after Lua Run stumbled away, completely drunk. Did I emerge from the corner? Guqing looked at me with a hint of reproach. "You shouldn't have said that just now. You know perfectly well what a reckless character Lua Run is." See, he knew exactly what kind of person Lua Run was, yet he still eloped with Zhu Xiuqin, completely disregarding my fate. Good, in this lifetime, no one's shielding him from Lua Run's wrath. When Zhu Xiuqin, Gu Yuan, and Gu Feng returned, they found Gu Cheng's swollen face. 5. I explained flatly, "Lua Run did this. Gu Feng snapped at me indignantly. Xiaoya, why didn't you protect my brother? I watched Zhu Shouqin applying medicine to Guqing with intimate gestures. Why aren't you blaming the troublemaker? Zhu Shouqin's eyes instantly reddened. I had to admit, she was strikingly beautiful. Her natural delicacy evoked an instinctive urge to protect her. I'm sorry, I had no choice but to hide from him. I'll leave now. Gu Feng and Gu Yuan immediately grabbed her, then turned to glare at me with resentment. Guqing also looked utterly disapproving. Xiaoya, you've changed. I thought you were as kind as your mother. Shouqin is already so pitiful. We should help her. I scoffed. Oh, you're so kind. Then why don't you take a few more beatings from Luo Ren yourself? Let's see how kind-hearted he remains when Luo Ren breaks his legs someday. The room fell silent instantly, the group guiltily lowering their heads. They knew damn well that after Gu Cheng's fake death, I'd be the one bearing Luo Ren's wrath. I returned to my room, packed a small bundle, and prepared to leave at dawn. Why didn't I just call off the engagement and kick Guqing and his siblings out? Because faking my death seemed like the better option. Guqing had lived with my family for years. The whole village saw us as one household. With thugs like Brother Ma around, Guqing's debts would have landed on me anyway, a girl with no family. Faking death was my only way out, more than anything. I wanted Guqing to taste his own medicine, that feeling when your meticulous plans fall apart in an instant. Perhaps something was on my mind. As I didn't sleep very soundly, I remembered asking Guqing, with a sense of injustice, why he had schemed against me so. Just before I died in my previous life, he replied with a cold expression, it's true I deceived you, but if I hadn't been repaying your family's kindness back then, I would have married Shouqin. And she wouldn't have ended up with that scoundrel. Now she's enjoying the good life in your place, and you've paid back what you owed her. I was so angry I felt like I was going to spit blood right then and there. If I had known he had someone else in his heart, I would never have agreed to marry him. He clearly enjoyed the care I gave to all three of his siblings, yet he still longed for Zhu Shouqin. In the morning, Guqing, with dark circles under his eyes, saw me come out of my room and quickly came over to greet me. I knew this afternoon was when he'd fake his death and disappear. He was worried about his younger siblings and wanted to give me a few more instructions. I didn't give him the chance, because a group of people showed up at my house to move furniture. I'm leaving, and they won't get a single thing from me for cheap. I sold the wardrobe Gu Feng loved and the desk Gu Yuan used. These were all bought by my late mother. The two children glared at me with hatred, while Guqing hesitated, trying to figure out my intentions before cautiously asking. I quickly explained, since we're getting married soon, we should replace the furniture. Gu Feng's outgrowing her wardrobe, and Gu Yuan needs a taller desk for studying. Gu Feng demanded, I want a dressing table and a king-size bed too. Not to be outdone, Gu Yuan chimed in, me too. I waved my hand grandly. You'll get all these things. Just don't expect me to foot the bill. Guqing looked at me with gratitude, even moving to hug me. Xiaoya, you're so kind. With you here, I feel completely at ease. I nearly gagged in disgust and quickly excused myself, saying it was getting late and I needed to check out new furniture in town. Xiaoya, we'll be family from now on. Swear in your mother's name that you'll always treat my siblings well, no matter what happens, or your mother will never rest in peace. 6. Guqing stopped me. Waiting for my nod of agreement. In our past life, he forced me to make the same vow before faking his death, thinking he feared I'd mistreat his siblings after marriage. I complied. That single vow ended up consuming the better part of my life. Guqing saw my silence, and a flicker of hurt crossed his face. Never mind, he said, they're dead weight. It's understandable you don't want them. I said, swear to me first. If you ever treat me badly, your parents won't rest in peace. Even in the afterlife. Guqing's face stiffened. He seemed not to have expected me to retort. Whenever Guqing used to wallow in self-pity like that, I'd always soften and give in. I have to admit, he really knew how to manipulate the past me. I also knew that whether I swore or not, Guqing would go through with his fake death plan. He had already taken out a huge loan, and according to Ma Ji's rules, even if he paid it back immediately, he'd still owe exorbitant interest. Guqing's factory wages were nowhere near enough to pay it off. He's already been targeted by Zhu Shouqin's ex-husband. The die is cast. While Guqing stood frozen in shock, I walked out the gate. I ran into some villagers on the road. Everyone I ran into asked me where I was off to. Now that I was getting married, I rubbed my eyes, a look of sorrow on my face. I just want to get away for a bit, by myself. Is it because of Zhu Shouqin? Oh, Guqing really doesn't know what he's doing. Tears instantly welled up in my eyes. Zhu Shouqin wore my clothes and secretly ate my family's food, but my mom is gone, and there's no one to help me. The neighbors comforted me, while scolding the Guqing siblings as ungrateful ingrates, helping outsiders bully their benefactor's daughter. With a look of dejection, I walked straight out of the village. A storm was brewing, as expected. Not a soul was in sight by the riverside. I boarded the waiting boat and headed to the train station. An hour later, I boarded the southbound train with my face covered. The scenery flashed by the window as I grew drowsy. At noon, Guqing finally left home with visible reluctance. He repeatedly reminded Gu Feng and Gu Yuan, "Be kind to Song Xiaoya. Take good care of yourselves, I'll write to you." The siblings' eyes instantly reddened. "Brother, stay safe out there, we'll be fine. Since that woman wants to be our sister-in-law, she ought to sacrifice everything for us." Guqing had no doubts. He was convinced of my kindness and generosity, certain I'd treat his siblings well. In our past life, his gamble paid off. I'd rather live on scraps than let his brother and sister go hungry. Guqing borrowed a small boat and rowed towards the big river. What surprised him was that there should have been no one by the river on such a stormy day, yet it was now swarming with villagers. With so many people watching, how was he supposed to carry out his fake death plan? Should he postpone the plan? But Zhu Shouqin had already bought her train ticket and was waiting for him in town. Someone recognized him and urgently called out, "Your fiancé must have fallen into the river. Come quickly and see." Guqing thought it was impossible. I clearly went to town to order furniture. How could I have fallen into the great river? Yet, my shoes were scattered on the bank, and my hat was floating in the middle of the river. All of this strongly suggested that something terrible had happened to me. In his past life, Guqing also faked his death like this. He said he was going to catch some fish for the main appetizer of our dinner party. I felt even more guilty. Thinking he sacrificed his life for our wedding. This large river flows into the Yangtze, and its currents are swift. Even if someone drowns, it's incredibly difficult to find the body without advanced equipment. In my past life, I never suspected Songqing would fake his death. With his younger siblings still here, he'd surely return if alive. 7. I sought refuge with my cousin, who'd made her fortune in Guangzhou's garment trade before becoming our village's first 10,000 yuan household. I decided to place a bulk order with factories for those newly imported jeans. Most people doubted this stiff, unflattering fabric would catch on. Who would have thought they'd take the world by storm, becoming timeless fashion staples? 8. Guqing turned pale the instant he saw my belongings left behind. Some speculated I'd intentionally sought death, given how emotionally unstable I'd been that morning. The villagers pointed fingers at Guqing, calling him heartless and accusing him of driving me to death through his entanglement with another woman. Guqing was still in shock. My death had completely derailed his plans, leaving him utterly at a loss. Soon enough, Brother Ma showed up with his gang to collect the debt. News of my death spread through the village. Brother Ma had only agreed to lend Guqing money because I was a local and owned property here. Now that I'm gone, he obviously doesn't trust the deal anymore. With professional instinct, he snatched Guqing's bag, packed with clothes and expensive watches, clearly indicating plans for a long journey. He immediately demanded Guqing repay the debt, threatening to break his legs otherwise. I learned all this from a letter written by my cousin in the same village. Of course, I only told her I fled heartbroken after Guqing's affair with Zhu Shouqin. She knew nothing of our past grudges. Brother Ma sensed Guqing might try to flee, so he escorted him home and started hurling abuse while demanding repayment. Guqing had never faced such aggression before and was paralyzed with fear. In my past life, I endured similar situations for over a decade while protecting the terrified Gufeng siblings. Guqing hoped there might still be money in my room, but I'd sold off all the furniture. The place was completely bare. Gufeng and Gu Yuan clung to each other, trembling like leaves in the wind. Guqing had a sudden thought. My house could still fetch some money, and since I'm dead and have no relatives, it's not like anyone else will claim it. The house could only belong to him, her fiancé. But then the village chief showed up with some people, pulling out documents to declare that my house had already been requisitioned. This way, even if Guqing dared to buy it, Brother Ma wouldn't dare to accept it. Guqing was furious and frantic, constantly blaming me. How could he die so suddenly? Fine, he's dead. But where on earth did he hide the money? Brother Ma was growing impatient. You just borrowed the money yesterday, surely you haven't spent it all already. A bitter taste rose in Guqing's heart. The moment he got the money, he wired it to Zhu Shouqin's cousin who ran a business down south. That guy guaranteed this deal would multiply our money several times over. Once he and Zhu Xiuqing got there, they'd be living large as top bosses. That's exactly how it played out in the past life. But now Guqing had missed today's train to Guangzhou, and with brother Ma breathing down his neck, leaving town again was out of the question. Guqing pinned his hopes on Zhu Xiuqing. Maybe she'd go ahead to Guangzhou without him, get the money, and bail him out of brother Ma's clutches. Unfortunately, his hopes were dashed once again. Zhu Xiuqing was forcibly brought back to the village by her ex-husband. It turned out Zhu Xiuqing and Lu Run had never legally divorced, and her family still held on to the hefty bride price from Lu without returning it, which explained his constant harassment. Chaos reigned in Guqing like a boiling pot. While the money wired to Zhu's cousin vanished without a trace, my business really started to take off. 9. I incorporated future fashion trends into my designs, creating bell-bottoms and high-waisted jeans. I had them mass-produced in factories. And my cousin even joined me as a partner. She specialized in sales, while I handled sourcing manufacturers. As soon as the first batch was ready, we gave them away for free to young girls on the street. It quickly became a new fashion trend, and our customer base grew steadily. 5 days after I left the village, my aunt told everyone that I hadn't drowned in the river but had gone to work elsewhere. It was all just a misunderstanding. Faking death would get my ID revoked, making life outside difficult. Besides, I'm a law-abiding citizen, anyway. I'm not local anymore. Guqing's mess won't drag me into it. In this life without me, Guqing got beaten badly by Ma and Lu, though someone called the cops and those two got detained. Ma's loan sharking was illegal anyway. Gu still owed the principal. Plus, his affair with a married woman was proven. No pity or help came his way. After beating Guqing, Lu Run's anger subsided, and he grumblingly divorced Zhu Xiuqing. Guqing, with hopeful eyes, thought that even though he was injured, he could now openly be with Zhu Xiuqing, and since he had voluntarily left before the marriage, it wasn't his fault, so things didn't seem so bad after all. But when Zhu Xiuqing saw that Guqing was limping, had 2 younger siblings as burdens, and no longer had a place to live, she immediately wanted to leave. Guqing was furious. I'm in this state all because of you. No wonder you instigated me to elope with you. Turns out you weren't even divorced yet. Zhu Xiuqing's former gentleness had vanished, leaving only disgust in her retort. You're the one who offered to make it up to me. Did I ever beg you? Wasn't it your dream of striking it rich down south that made you elope with me in the first place? Gu Feng and Gu Yuan pleaded with Zhu Xiuqing to look after Guqing for a while, convinced her greater affection for their elder brother would make her stay willingly, and do a far better job than I ever could. Zhu Xiuqing shook off their hands. Who'd want to take care of you 2 deadweights? Think I'm some fool like Song Xiaoya, waiting on you like royalty? After a heated argument, Zhu Xiuqing left and reportedly went back to the matchmaking circuit. Gu Feng and Gu Yuan couldn't adjust to their newfound hardship, constantly blaming Guqing for driving me away while refusing to care for his bedridden self. Eventually, Gu Feng and Gu Yuan couldn't afford tuition and had to drop out. One resigned herself to cutting pigweed, while the other took up odd handicraft jobs to scrape by. Back when they were with me, they lived a life of pampered luxury. Reading my cousin's letter did lift a weight off my chest, but I'd rather not dwell on past grievances. I just want this life to be worthwhile. Yet against all expectations, I ran into Guqing 3 months later. 10. My house got requisitioned, and there was paperwork to finalize. I had to make a trip back to the village. Guqing and his 2 siblings were assigned by the village chief to stay in his abandoned shack. When Guqing saw me appear at the village chief's doorstep, laden with bags, his eyes lit up, but he deliberately put on a stern face and avoided my gaze. What? Couldn't make it out there, so you came crawling back? Whenever he used to speak to me so coldly, I'd panic and humble myself to try and appease him. Gu Feng put her hands on her hips and said, give my brother the demolition compensation to pay off his debts first, and we'll still be willing to have you as our sister-in-law. Gu Yuan also stretched out her arm to shoo me away. Get out, you're not welcome here. I looked around the dilapidated little room. On the rickety table, there was only a half-eaten bun and half a bowl of pickles. It was a world away from my old spacious brick house. Guqing's leg was still bandaged. Noticing my gaze, he instinctively recoiled. I chuckled. Why would I want to be your sister-in-law? For your brother's limp or his mountain of debt? Guqing glared at me with humiliated fury, his lips parting soundlessly. Gu Feng blustered with false bravado. My brother only got into debt to marry you. You ran away. Now you owe him compensation. Guqing's eyes reddened, and he looked at me with a wronged expression. Xiao Feng, stop, this was all my choice. and it has nothing to do with your sister Xiaoya. To think he's still putting on this act of deep affection in front of me now, well, then, I might as well expose the truth, Guqing. The reason you're like this now is simply because you borrowed money, hoping to run away with Zhu Xiuqin, but you were shot down before you even had a chance to fly. Tsk, how pitiful. Gu Cheng's face instantly turned beet red. You know everything. Alright, I was wrong, okay. Zhu Xiuqin totally conned me into it. Gu Cheng looked at me pleadingly, still believing I was the same fool who considered them family, that I'd forgive their mistakes and reconcile for old time's sake, but I'd already paid dearly for my poor judgment in a past life. This time, I wouldn't be so naive. After signing the documents, I turned to leave, through the window. I caught sight of Gu Cheng's resentful face. My aunt wrote to inform me, Gu Cheng promised brother Ma he'd repay the money ASAP, and might even set his sights on me next. Better watch out. I took note and refocused on running the business. Sure enough, I ran into Gu Cheng again soon after. 11. When I went to the station to pick up my visiting cousin, Gu Cheng showed up unannounced, with Gu Fang and Gu Yuan in tow. Gu Cheng leaned on a crutch, evidently lame in one leg. His face was haggard, his clothes in tatters, and the brother-sister pair trailing behind him looked equally disheveled, unaccustomed to hardship. They'd finally reached their breaking point. My cousin found their presence ill-omened and tried to shoo them away, but they just stared at me with pitiful eyes. They looked exactly like this when they first arrived at my home. My heartbroken mother immediately boiled water for their baths and bought them new clothes. Their initial wariness gradually turned into a sense of entitlement, then they exploited my kindness to manipulate me. The human heart is ever fickle. My cousin and I have established a sizable wholesale market specializing in various types of trousers. Seeing the thriving business, the trio's eyes gleamed with greed and envy. The three lingered stubbornly at our shop entrance like persistent leeches. A curious customer asked who they were. Gu Cheng actually blushed and looked at me. I'm Xiaoya's family, Gu Fang and Gu Yuan chimed in. Sister Xiaoya is our sister-in-law. My cousin was so annoyed she wanted to kick them out, but they didn't do anything out of line, and calling security wouldn't have helped anyway. When things calm down, I'll talk to them. A Cantonese tea house, thick with smoke. Gu Cheng looked at her expectantly. Xiaoya, your mother took us in back then because she was afraid you'd be all alone and bullied in the future. I poured myself a cup of tea. Yes. She hoped I wouldn't feel too lonely after she's gone. Gu Cheng's eyes instantly lit up, his hands trembling with excitement. Yes, that's why we came to you. We can give you the warmth of home. Let's live together like we used to. Okay, if you want to marry me, we'll do it right away. Gu Yuan, stuffing pastries into his mouth, exclaimed, so delicious. I'm coming here every day from now on. Gu Fang had already pocketed all the sunflower seeds and peanuts from the table. Gu Cheng looked rather embarrassed, cautiously watching my reaction. I curled my lips slightly, but I already have a home. A pretty little girl ran up to me from behind, holding a bouquet of flowers. Sister Xiaoya, this is a gift from my brother. Behind him, the young and handsome tea house owner smiled and nodded at me. Gu Cheng's face drained of color, and he spoke with difficulty. Why, I said calmly. The tea house owner is young and accomplished, handsome and wealthy. And his sister is generous and lovely. 12. My gaze inadvertently drifted over Gu Cheng's crippled leg, then to Gu Yuan and Gu Fang with crumbs all over their faces. As I stood to leave, I caught Gu Cheng's reflection in the glass, his stare at my retreating figure growing increasingly venomous. The next day, my shop went up in flames. Fortunately, it was spotted in time and the damage was minimal. Thankfully, neither my cousin nor I were sleeping in the shop that night. Gu Cheng and his two siblings were apprehended at the train station. They were carrying several thousand in cash stolen from the store. Gu Cheng faces years behind bars for arson and theft with malicious intent. Gu Yuan and Gu Fang were too young, so they were sent back to their hometown. Before being detained, Gu Cheng asked to see me one last time. Could you look after Xiaofeng and Xiao Yuan for me? They're just kids, they don't understand right from wrong, I scoffed. No, a heartless woman like me wouldn't bother. In my past life when I fell gravely ill, Gu Yuan and Gu Fang had already settled down with families and careers. I lay neglected in the old house, forgotten by all. Only after the village head called did they reluctantly visit. They wouldn't even pour me a glass of water. Later, Gu Cheng asked how they'd been getting along all these years. They replied, that woman actually has a conscience. She didn't treat us badly, but in our hearts, we only recognize Sister Xiuqin as our sister-in-law. After toiling for most of my life, In their eyes, I'm just that woman. Gu Cheng's face changed dramatically, and he pointed at me with a trembling finger. You're back too. No wonder, you did it on purpose. You deliberately left the money in plain sight and then intentionally provoked me. And you deliberately left before my fake death. Didn't you? It wasn't because of me and Shouqin that you left heartbroken, was it? Gu Cheng yelled, losing his composure, his face filled with disbelief. I innocently shook my head. I don't understand what you're talking about. I'm begging you. I wronged you in our past life. I admit I was wrong. Alright. Gu Cheng choked up, his voice trembling with raw emotion. Did he truly realize his mistake? No, he's just terrified. Terrified I'll keep tormenting his younger siblings. After arriving in Guangzhou, I had no intention of keeping ties with them, but they weren't about to let me off the hook. The tea house owner and I are just good friends. Nothing romantic ever developed. That day, I just wanted to make Gu Cheng squirm. He only resorted to desperate measures when he realized I'd never look back. There's no more permanent solution than being locked up here. As for Gu Feng and Gu Yuan, with an imprisoned brother, no property in the village, and their lazy habits, they're in for a world of hardship. Later, word got out that they'd harassed Zhu Shouqin when they hit rock bottom. When Zhu Shouqin's in-laws heard about her past, they immediately demanded to break off the engagement. Gu Cheng gazed at her with a faint smile. It takes a thief to catch a thief. I stepped outside into the bright sunshine. That once bashful, handsome youth now seemed like a lifetime ago, the first time I saw Gu Cheng. He was breaking a steamed bun in half to share with his younger siblings. His two siblings asked him if he wanted some. With a gentle look in his eyes, he said, "Big brother isn't hungry, you two eat." My mom was incredibly touched and whispered it to me. "He's a wonderful boy, Xiaoya. Would you like to have an older brother?" I nodded, overjoyed. "How about we make him part of our family? Otherwise, if I leave, you'll be all alone here. And it won't feel like home anymore." Now I want to tell Mom. Home isn't defined by headcount. Where the heart finds peace becomes my home, be it solitude or company. My cousin grabbed me excitedly when she saw me return. "The jeans design you created is selling like hotcakes again. Perfect. This life's treating me well with bright prospects and smooth sailing." The end. Story 2. My sister and I were the most beautiful twins in the orphanage, simultaneously noticed by a family of doctors and a top-tier wealthy family. In our past life, my sister chose the wealthy family for their fortune, stepping into that top-tier Maybach without hesitation. Little did she know what awaited her was a disabled, temperamental young master of the wealthy family. My sister was told she was his dog in life, and after the young master's death, she was forced to be buried alive with him. Raised in a family of doctors, I became the golden prodigy of the hospital, pampered like a princess alongside my genius but aloof stepbrother. My sister, consumed by jealousy, stabbed me to death on my wedding day. Why should I be the only one living such a miserable life? When I opened my eyes again, we had returned to the day we were adopted. This time, my sister took the initiative to hold the doctor's wife's hand first. I smiled as I watched her triumphant figure walk away. Can't even outplay a brainless rich young master, and you think you can outsmart a cunning Yandere. 1. The Shan and Li families left the choice to me and my sister, Cece. Ran, the two of you decide for yourselves who you want to go with. I was just about to say I wouldn't choose either when my sister eagerly took Madame Shen's hand. "Auntie, you're so beautiful, and you have such a lovely fragrance. I want to go with you." At that moment, I realized my sister must have also been reborn, because she made a completely different choice from our previous life. On this day in our past life, both the medical Shen family and the wealthiest Li family came to the orphanage to select children, explicitly requesting girls. My sister and I, being the most beautiful twins in the orphanage, were immediately chosen by both the Shen and Li families. They also gave the choice to us sisters. That year, my sister and I were only 8 years old. None of us had much understanding of medicine, but upon hearing the term richest man, my sister eagerly grabbed the hand of the richest man's wife, exclaiming, "Auntie, you're so beautiful, I'll go with you." Just like that, my sister left with the richest man, while I was taken home by the Shen family of medicine. Over a decade later, I became the golden-handed surgeon at the hospital, and the childhood bond with my foster brother became a celebrated tale, with everyone saying we were a match made in heaven. Whether it was my foster parents or my foster brother, they all treated me with utmost kindness. To outsiders, I am the little princess of the Shen family, the object of envy and jealousy for thousands, having reached Rome by being adopted by the Shens. Among them is my sister. It turns out that after she returned home with the tycoon, she never had a single good day. The tycoon's family has complicated relationships, including a stepmother renowned for her virtue and a deranged, gloomy son. The reason the richest man's wife wanted to adopt a girl was publicly stated as giving her stepson a younger sister to make him happy. Privately, however, she had a different explanation when speaking to the sister. Cece, the reason I brought you back is for you to play with your brother and keep him happy. Remember, your brother is everything to you. If he's well, you'll be well. If anything happens to him, you must be buried with him. Do you understand? The sister tried to run away several times, but was always caught and brought back by the powerful and influential richest family. The richest man's stepson initially had no interest in his sister, but her repeated escape attempts caught his attention. Like a grasshopper tied to a string, no matter how much it struggles and tries, it can't escape the restraint of the rope. Thus, the sister truly became the human plaything of the Lee family. She grew up in such an environment. Her personality already twisted, so when she saw how well the Shin family had raised me, spoiling me like a little princess, the jealousy in her heart turned into raging flames, burning away her last shred of reason. On the day of my wedding to my adoptive brother, my sister rushed at me with a knife and stabbed me to death. In the second before I collapsed, I heard her screaming hysterically, "Why am I the only one living such a miserable life?" Yet the very next moment, the knife embedded in my heart was pulled out. It's my foster brother indeed. His face was expressionless, his pitch-black eyes utterly calm, yet he kept stabbing my sister over and over, until my sister too collapsed on the ground. I turned my head to look at my sister one last time, then breathed my last. Now that I've been reborn, I never want to repeat the mistakes of my past life. But my sister pushed me in front of the tycoon's wife, saying, "Little sister, the life of wealth and luxury in the tycoon's family is all yours now. Don't thank me too much." The tycoon's wife held my hand and said with a smile, Ran, come home with mom." I turned my head to look at my sister. My sister also smiled with squinted eyes and waved at me. "Goodbye, little sister." I couldn't help but laugh too. "Sister, since you're so determined to steal the life I had in my previous existence, then, don't you dare regret it, too." I still followed the billionaire's wife home. Not only because I'm still a child now. If I refused adoption by the billionaire's family, the orphanage director wouldn't get benefits and might retaliate against me, but also because I'm quite covetous of the billionaire's wealth. As soon as we entered the villa, the billionaire's wife immediately called the butler. "Quick, bring the young master down." The butler nodded in agreement and promptly took someone upstairs. In no time, an enraged voice came from upstairs, "Get out. And tell that woman to get out too." I looked up at the billionaire's wife. The billionaire's wife's gaze was fixed on the upstairs. From this angle, I could see the cold glint and triumph in her eyes. Suddenly, she lowered her eyes to look at me, her gaze sharp. "What are you looking at?" Scared, I tried my best to act like a child, timidly hiding behind her. "Mommy, is that Big Brother? He looks so scary." The billionaire's wife firmly grasped my small hand and led me upstairs. The furious voice grew louder and clearer, yet the billionaire's wife smiled gently and brought me to that room. "Qingyan, why are you throwing such a big tantrum again? Look quickly, guess who I brought for you." As she spoke, she pushed me toward Li Qingyan. "This is your little sister. See, isn't she pretty and adorable? From now on you'll have a sister to keep you company." A flying vase interrupted the billionaire's wife mid-sentence. "Mom, watch out." I used the opportunity of pushing the billionaire's wife aside to dodge the vase myself. Li Qingyan's voice grew increasingly furious, his eyes burning with deep hatred. "Get out, all of you, leave first." The billionaire's wife waved her hand, dismissing the butler and servants. She held my shoulders with both hands, bent down, and said to me, Ran, from now on you must take good care of your brother. Whatever he says, you must obey. The reason I brought you back is for you to play with your brother and keep him happy. Remember, your brother is everything to you. If he's well, you're well. If anything happens to him, you must be buried with him. Do you understand? I pouted my lips, forcing out a tear. "Mommy, I'm scared." The billionaire's wife's gaze suddenly turned sharp and icy. "Afraid of what? Go play with your brother." She released me and stood up straight, smiling kindly and gently at the furious Li Qingyan. "Qingyan, you play with your sister. Auntie won't disturb you too." With that, she left, carefully closing the door behind her. I watched the billionaire's wife leave, wiped the tears from my cheeks, and turned back to face Li Qingyan without a trace of fear left. Li Qingyan's icy gaze bore down on me, his thin lips parting slightly as he coldly spat out a single word, "Get out." I stepped forward, I won't. Li Qingyan narrowed his eyes dangerously. You're just a dog that woman sent to spy on me. Aren't you afraid I'll kill you? I raised an eyebrow. Kill me, and you'll never stand up again in this lifetime. Fury returned to Li Qingyan's flawless face. You're looking for death. I glanced back at the door again to ensure the billionaire's wife wasn't eavesdropping, then lowered my voice to a volume only Li Qingyan could hear. I can cure your legs. Li Qingyan laughed in extreme anger, scanning me up and down. You. An 8-year-old girl, yes, me. I took another step forward, closing the distance between us. Besides, right now I'm the only one you can trust. Li Qingyan finally noticed something was off about me. Who exactly are you? I shrugged. Just an 8-year-old little girl. Li Qingyan scoffed lightly. That woman is truly formidable. She can find anyone. It seems I can't underestimate you. It's not that woman who's formidable. It's me. I extended my hand. I'll heal your legs. Once you regain control of the Li family, you can deal with that woman however you wish, but don't forget to repay me. My medical skills don't come for free. Li Qingyan, at that moment, his face finally showed the confusion and bewilderment befitting a 15-year-old boy. You, just who exactly are you? I moved closer, leaning into Li Qingyan's ear, and whispered, an 8-year-old little girl. Li Qingyan, 3. In the following days, I began living a double life of outward compliance and secret defiance, while pretending to be afraid of Li Qingyan in front of the tycoon's wife, acting reluctant to accompany him. I was threatened by her several times, while secretly examining Li Qingyan's condition and formulating a treatment plan. This treatment method was developed by the Shen family in my previous life, but that was 10 years later. But now, I'm the only one who knows this treatment method, an 8-year-old girl, however. Li Qingyan still doesn't believe me. You're acting all mysterious every day. If I find out you're lying to me, I'll make sure you die without a burial place. I crouched beside Li Qingyan's legs and couldn't help rolling my eyes at his words. If you're so capable, how come you've been suppressed by your stepmother all this time? Wouldn't it be better to just make her disappear without a trace? Li Qingyan choked on his words. I soothingly patted his leg. Brother, just relax. I always keep my promises. And I'm still waiting for you to repay me. Li Qingyan looked at me with a mixture of doubt and hope. So when exactly will I be able to stand up again? Shoo. I pressed a finger to my lips. If your stepmother hears this, you'll be dead and buried. The wife of the richest man was undoubtedly a formidable figure. After quietly eliminating the tycoon, she used the same methods to cripple Li Qingyan's legs. And now, although most of the shares in the Li group are in Li Qingyan's hands, he hasn't come of age yet. Several scheming shareholders of the Li group openly support the tycoon's widow, causing Li Qingyan's status as a cripple within the corporation to decline day by day, so the treatment still needs to be carried out secretly. Otherwise, if the richest man's wife finds out, I might really have to be buried alive with Li Qingyan. Brother, let's go abroad. It's perfect since both you and I need to attend school. Being overseas, away from your stepmother's watchful eyes, will make it easier for me to handle things. Li Qingyan wore an expression of sudden realization. So this is where you were leading me. Did that woman put you up to this? Trying to ship me abroad so she can finish me off directly? Why would she kill you? You're already crippled. Even if the shares are still in your hands, you're no threat to her anymore. She just wants me to keep an eye on you and torment you a little more. Li Qingyan silently looked at me, pondered for a moment, then nodded. All right. 4. Li Qingyan proposed to the tycoon's wife that he wanted to go abroad. The tycoon's wife was surprised. Qingyan, why do you suddenly want to go abroad? Li Qingyan said impatiently. I'm just informing you. Did you really think I was asking for your permission? The billionaire's wife smiled gently. Of course I'll support whatever you do. Go ahead then. I'll arrange for someone to find you a school and handle the paperwork. I secretly rejoiced on the side. This was obviously an act put on for the billionaire's wife. With just a glance from her, Ran, you should accompany your brother. I'll help you find a school too. I immediately made an extremely reluctant expression, almost crying, but the cold, stern voice of the tycoon's wife interrupted me. No buts, don't forget your place. Li Qingyan patted my head with his paw and said maliciously, little sister, come abroad with your brother. In this life, you're my dog when alive, and my dead dog when dead. Just wait till I treat him. I'll make sure he suffers. But the thought of going abroad soon and being able to study lifted my spirits. At least in this lifetime, I can take control of my own life and live with dignity. As for my sister, she must be very happy now, right? Don't worry. Her so-called adoptive brother won't be able to hide his true colors for much longer. Suddenly, a demonic voice emerged in my mind without warning. Ran, who is that boy? Do you like him? Ran, you're so disobedient. Ran, do you like this chain? What about this cage? Brother really loves seeing you chained in the cage. That way, you belong to me alone. Ran, you're mine, not just in this life, but in all your future lives too. For eternity, you can only belong to me. Ran, ah, I covered my ears and screamed. The richest man's wife said sharply, Ran, are you crazy? Your brother just touched your head, why are you screaming? I suddenly came to my senses and turned my head to meet Li Qingyan's probing gaze. Everything has changed in this lifetime. I let out a slight sigh of relief and shook my head. I'm sorry, I won't dare to do it again. It seems I still haven't completely erased the shadows from my past life from my heart, but fortunately, I'm about to go abroad, far away from here. 10 years later, my sister saw me in the university dormitory, utterly surprised. She ran, why are you also studying medicine? Didn't you go abroad? I smiled and reminded her, sister, my name is Li Ran now. This remark seemed to remind my sister of something. She scanned me up and down and suddenly burst out laughing. How about it? These years abroad haven't been easy, have they? It's not like back home, even if you wanted to call the police, they wouldn't stand up for you. I pretended not to understand. Sister, what are you talking about? My sister gave a knowing smile. Alright, I get it, just swallow your pride and bear it. I'm actually surprised that mad dog Li Qingyan has let you live this long. After all, you don't have the wits like I do to survive under his thumb. I continued pretending not to understand. Sister, why are you talking about my brother? The sister sneered contemptuously. You can't fool me. She ran. Oh no, I mean Li Ran. I just looked at her puzzledly without saying anything more, then went to organize my own luggage. At the dormitory entrance, the sound of heavy footsteps grew gradually closer. This voice seems etched into my genes, branded onto my very soul. Even after 10 years have passed, hearing this familiar voice again still makes my body stiffen involuntarily. The person has already walked in. I silently take a deep breath, stand up, and turn to face the man who entered, my adoptive brother from my past life, Shin Yuxiu. But Shin Yuxiu didn't even glance at me. His first look upon entering immediately locked onto my sister. My sister stood there stiff as concrete, her gaze frozen on Shin Yuxiu as if she couldn't tear her eyes away. Shin Yuxiu walked to my sister as if no one else existed, his pale hand gently caressing her cheek. When he spoke, his cool voice carried that distinctive tone of his, like shackles meant to imprison one's soul. Cece, why aren't you listening to your brother again? Didn't I tell you not to stay in the dorm? Come, let's go home with me. His voice was soft, yet carried an undeniable authority. My sister's body began to tremble, her voice quivering. I want to stay in the dorm, brother, please. Just let me make this decision for myself this once. Shin Yuxiu smiled, so gently it seemed. His gaze at my sister like ice and fire colliding. That look, I knew it all too well. In my past life, Shin Yuxiu used this exact gaze to shackle me. Be good, Cece. My sister swallowed hard, her choked sobs growing quieter as she pleaded. Brother, please, I beg you, I promise, I'll come home every Friday. The air around Shin Yuxiu instantly turned icy. Is there a boy at school that you like? My sister shook her head vigorously. No, brother, believe me, there isn't any boy I like. Shin Yuxiu seemed to notice me only then, as he slowly turned his head to look at me. The emotions in his eyes had already receded, leaving behind only an unreadable calm, but when he clearly saw my face, a fleeting look of surprise still flashed across his expression. He pulled his sister into his embrace, the corners of his lips curling into an almost imperceptible smile. Li Ran, so you're Cece's little sister, right? 6 golden metal bars seemed to materialize before my eyes, the cage Shin Yuxiu used to imprison me. My throat grew tighter, making even breathing difficult. Kneeling at his feet in the most wretched posture, with the most pitiful and helpless expression, I begged him through tears, brother, please let me go, I'm begging you, please. I even kowtowed to him. Shin Yuxiu crouched before me, his cold fingers slowly tilting my chin up. No, Ran. If I let you go and you run away, where would I find you? Ran, you know I can't live without you. These were things from my past life. That's right, they were things from my past life. I silently let out a sigh of relief and nodded with a smile. I'm Li Ran. Shin Yuxiu smiled knowingly. No wonder our Cece insisted on living on campus. so she knew her younger sister had returned from abroad and wanted to reunite with her. He then turned to face my sister. Ran. I'll let you stay in the dormitory for a few days to experience it. I'll come pick you up in a few days. My sister's tense expression softened slightly as she nodded. Okay, thank you, brother. Shin Yusho gently patted his sister's head. No need to say thank you to your brother. He lowered his head, placed a light kiss on his sister's forehead, stroked her cheek, then gave me a gentlemanly nod before leaving. My sister's legs gave way, and she collapsed onto the edge of the bed. I walked over, taking in my sister's pale face. Sister, what's wrong? Why are you so afraid of your brother? Has he treated you badly? My sister looked up at me like a robot recharged after running out of power, and suddenly burst into laughter. Liran, actually you didn't have it easy in your past life either, did you? Shin Yusho is a freak, a devil. How could he possibly let you off? It's all fake, everything is fake. I was deceived by the facade you created, in your past life. You were also born into a living hell. The more she spoke, the more she laughed. I feel much more balanced now. Really, a chill ran through my heart. The reason she felt balanced was because she knew I had suffered greatly under Shin Yusho's torment in my past life. Knew the Shin family had told Shin Yusho, as long as you become a medical genius, we'll give you whatever you want. This little sister is just a toy for you to play with as you please. Knew I had been trapped in that cage for over half a year, living worse than a dog, so my sister could accept her own misfortune after all, the only condition being that I was equally miserable. 7. Beside my ear, my sister's voice continued, but soon such days will come to an end. Once I become a medical genius, everyone in the Shin family will have to obey me, and then it'll be my turn to torment them. A mischievous impulse rose within me, and I interrupted her sweet dream. Sister, what are you talking about? Why do I feel like you're not quite yourself this time we meet? My sister snapped out of her reverie and looked at me with a cold smile. It's not a dream. In the near future, what I said will definitely come true. Suddenly remembering something, she stared at me and asked, why are you studying medicine too? You, don't tell me you're also, have I been reborn too? Actually, telling her wouldn't matter. Everything changed completely from the moment my sister chose the Shin family in this lifetime. No matter how much she schemes, it's useless. But I won't tell her I've been reborn. Let her believe she's the only one holding the script from her past life, waiting for her comeback. The greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. I want to see the look of despair on my sister's face, as revenge for her killing me in my past life. In my past life, my sister ended my life. And that's how I was able to escape, but I won't be grateful to her for that. I hate my sister, and I hate Shin Yusho even more, but in this lifetime, I only want to live my own life well. To exist like a normal person. I pretended not to understand and even called my sister crazy. My sister didn't care, no matter what. In this lifetime Shin Yusho loves me, in my past life I was killed by him. So why shouldn't I turn him into my murder weapon this time? Liran, whether you know something or not, behave yourself, or I'll have Shin Yusho kill you. He may be a pervert, but he's deeply in love with me. He'll definitely listen to me. I wanted to tell my sister that Shin Yusho is a devil. But isn't she one too? But I just shook my head helplessly. Sis, you're really seriously ill. 8. Every night, my sister calls Shin Yusho to report in. My phone also chimed with a notification at that moment. It was a WeChat message from Li Qingyan. Brother, disappeared just by going to college. Don't you know how to call your brother? Though it was just text, I could still detect a tone of tsundere arrogance in it. You're in the apartment near the university. If you're worried, just come see for yourself. What's the point of calling? To say, brother, I'm fine, don't worry, brother. Do I need to worry about an 18-year-old adult? You're going to college, not Myanmar. Now it's an 18-year-old adult, not an 8-year-old little girl. Another message from Li Qingyan came through. Brother, I'll pick you up on Friday. That woman wants us to go back for a meal. The act must go on. Got it, brother. Good night. It's only past 7. What good night? During military training, the playground was bustling with activity, with many showcasing their talents, but I was really too tired, so I went back to the dorm to rest. The reason my sister came back so early is that she had to report to Shin Yusho and didn't want to be overheard. I heard it, brother. I really don't have a boy I like. The only reason I want to stay at school is to be with my younger sister. I like you, brother. I only like you. In my past life, Shin Yusho always forced me to say this phrase. His family only treated him as a tool for fame and reputation, never giving him even a shred of genuine affection. this is how someone starved of love to the extreme behaves. But this cannot be an excuse for him to torment others. If he's truly miserable from lack of love, then he should just die. I pushed the door open and went in. My sister was startled at first, but upon recognizing me, she immediately pulled me over. Brother, look, my sister has also returned to the dormitory. She has many things she wants to talk to me about too. Shin Yushio just glanced at me through the screen before saying goodbye to my sister. As the video call ended, a look of disgust finally surfaced on my sister's face. When she turned and noticed me watching her, she immediately glared fiercely. What are you looking at? I'm warning you. Behave yourself, don't say anything you shouldn't. If you dare scheme anything, you'll be the one getting hurt in the end. In this lifetime, it's me whom Shin Yushio loves, I mocked with a laugh. Sister, you're always talking about past lives and this life. If you say these things just to me, fine, but if others hear you, they'll surely think you've gone mad. Also, I noticed you seem to really dislike your brother, yet you keep saying he only loves you. Could it be that you're suffering from Stockholm Syndrome? I'm not. My sister lowered her voice and muttered, I just really dislike him. She then asked me, don't you dislike Li Qingyan? You mean my brother? I shook my head and continued, no, I don't dislike him at all. My brother treats me extremely well. The elder sister sneered, stop pretending here. Would that crippled bastard treat you well? Shin Yushio is a pervert, but is that lame wretch any better? I should have refused to be adopted by them from the start. Who says it isn't so? In her previous life, she was clearly killed by Shin Yushio, yet after rebirth, she chose the Shin family without hesitation. If she had refused adoption, she could have lived a good life in this lifetime by utilizing the cheat from her past life. I feel the same way, yet we both still walked the same old path from our past lives, even though we exchanged each other's paths. But I'm confident that my path in this life will become faster and smoother as I walk it. 9. Friday, after finishing military training, I returned to the dormitory to change clothes, preparing to go find Li Qingyan. My sister had also changed her clothes, and the two of us left the dormitory building together. Not far away, two luxury cars were parked side by side. The Bentley belonged to Shin Yushio, while the Aston Martin was Li Qingyan's. Upon seeing my sister, Shin Yushio got out of his car and walked gracefully towards us, directly taking her hand while giving me a friendly smile. How have you two sisters been this week? I was just about to speak when Li Qingyan's driver got out of the car. He took out a folding wheelchair, opened it, and then helped Li Qingyan get down and sit in the wheelchair. My sister looked over and instinctively held on to Shin Yushio's arm. Just as I have a shadow over Shin Yushio, my sister also has a shadow over Li Qingyan. Shin Yushio was flattered, looking down at my sister's hand tightly clutching his arm, the corner of his lips curling up silently. What's wrong, Cece? My sister snapped back to reality and gave Shin Yushio a sweet smile. Nothing, I just missed you, brother. Shin Yushio's eyes were tender as water, lowering his head to place a kiss on his sister's forehead. I missed you too. Li Qingyan had already arrived. He also recognized his sister at first glance. Although our living environments have differed greatly over the years, and our appearances are no longer as similar as before, it's still obvious at first glance that we're twins. Ran, is this your sister? Li Qingyan gave her a faint smile. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Then he extended his hand toward the sister. The sister hesitated, shook hands with Li Qingyan, and said, don't blame my younger sister. Please don't hit her. This wasn't her speaking up for me at all. It was pure schadenfreude. A flash of surprise crossed Li Qingyan's expression as he glared at me. Liran, is this how you tarnish my reputation outside? When have I ever hit you? That wasn't me saying it. It was sister's assumption. Besides, have you forgotten, when we first met, you immediately threw a vase at me. Li Qingyan's eyelid twitched slightly. Shut up. I immediately closed my mouth. Older sister burst out laughing. It was clear she was genuinely happy to see me doing poorly. Casting a sympathetic yet satisfied glance at me, my sister tightened her grip on Shin Yushio's arm. Brother, let's go home. Shin Yushio responded indifferently, withdrawing his icy gaze from Li Qingyan's hand. Let's go. Then he took my sister into the car. Suddenly, I got goosebumps. This feeling is all too familiar. Shin Yushio's possessiveness is acting up again, because sister shook hands with another man. Sister is going to have a tough night tonight. 10. Since returning to the country, I haven't met the tycoon's wife until now. Seeing her again, she seems unchanged, well-maintained and still as young and beautiful as ever. However, all these years, I've maintained contact with her because I needed to provide her with everything about Li Qingyan. The richest man's wife was quite satisfied with my performance. Li Qingyan is already 25 this year. After coming of age, he should have taken back the company, but it's still the richest man's wife who calls the shots. The richest man's wife got carried away too. At the dinner table, she actually said directly to Li Qingyan, "Qingyan, you've been abroad all these years and haven't inquired much about the company's affairs. I, on the other hand, have managed the company very well. It's just that I'm not the largest shareholder after all, which makes decision-making quite inconvenient." She paused briefly before continuing, "Qingyan, transfer your shares to my name. If you're uneasy, I'll buy them from you. We're family. After your father passed, I've treated you like my own son. Don't you trust me?" Li Qingyan set down his chopsticks, his tone measured, striking just the right chord in everyone's hearts. The billionaire's wife stared unblinkingly at Li Qingyan. Her smile still perfectly poised. Li Qingyan slowly raised his gaze to meet hers, lips curving slightly. "Since it's inconvenient for you, I'll officially take over the company starting tomorrow. No need to trouble you anymore, Auntie." The billionaire's wife didn't take Li Qingyan's words to heart. "Qingyan, there are some things Auntie fears might hurt your pride if said, but they must be spoken." Her gaze fell on Li Qingyan's legs. "Your legs? The company still has some reservations about them. Having outsiders see the Li Group led by someone with a disability would significantly damage the corporation's prestige." Li Qingyan nodded, appearing to agree with the billionaire's wife's words. The billionaire's wife smiled contentedly. "Then, name your price." "You set the price." Li Qingyan placed both hands on the wheelchair armrests. "I'll buy your shares." The billionaire's wife smiled and said, "You still don't understand what I mean." "I understand." Li Qingyan slowly stood up and walked step by step toward her under the billionaire's wife's shocked gaze. "Now, may I take over the company?" The billionaire's wife's eyes widened, her gaze seemingly nailed to Li Qingyan's face. After a long pause, she finally spoke. How are you standing?" Suddenly struck by a thought, the tycoon's wife abruptly stood up. "Li Ran, you betrayed me." I shrugged innocently. "You've been threatening me all along, even saying you'd make me die for my brother's funeral. Did you really expect me to stay loyal to you?" The tycoon's wife flew into a rage and was about to charge at me when Li Qingyan suddenly grabbed her by the throat. Compared to Li Qingyan's calm composure, the tycoon's wife's face quickly turned as red as a tomato. She struggled violently, all traces of her elegant nobility vanishing completely. "Let me go." As Li Chenjian loosened his grip, the billionaire's wife went limp and collapsed heavily onto the ground. Li Chenjian looked down at her with a cold smile. "Auntie, I know you have much to say, but not now. Save your words for the police." Over the past decade, although Li Qingyan was abroad, he wasn't idle, receiving my treatment while gathering evidence of the billionaire's wife's crimes. A decade is enough time to accomplish anything. Li Qingyan has already handed over all the evidence to the police, proving the billionaire's wife murdered her husband and crippled Li Qingyan's legs. Soon after, the billionaire's wife was taken into custody. Li Qingyan officially took over the Li Group. As for those who sided with the billionaire's wife, they're now struggling to protect themselves and can't cause any trouble. I stayed by Li Qingyan's side the entire weekend until he assumed the chairman's position. I reached out my hand to him. "You promised me. Can you give it to me now?" Li Qingyan slightly furrowed his ink-dark brows and tapped my palm with his large hand. "What are you in such a hurry for?" I pouted and withdrew my hand. Li Qingyan shook his head with a smile. "Don't worry. You won't miss out. I'll first set up a laboratory for you. Once you graduate from university, you can establish your own medical team. When has your brother ever broken a promise to you?" I giggled and wrapped my arms around Li Qingyan's neck from behind. "Brother, you're so good." Li Qingyan patted my arm. "You're 18 now, not an 8-year-old girl anymore. Be more careful." He's quite the gentleman. 11. On Monday when I returned to school, as expected, I didn't see my sister. She didn't participate in military training, and surprisingly, the instructor didn't say anything about it. It was clear that Shin Yushio had already made arrangements with the school. It wasn't until half a month later, long after we had finished our military training, that my sister finally returned. This time when I saw her, it was obvious she seemed like someone whose soul had been taken over, leaving behind only a walking corpse. I noticed she was wearing high-necked clothes. Even without looking underneath, I knew there must be marks from being tied around her neck. I gently patted her. My sister immediately jumped up as if electrocuted, like a startled bird. "No, what are you doing, sister? What's wrong with you?" My sister kept shaking her head. "I'm fine," she suddenly shouted. "None of your business." I shrugged. I can't be bothered with you either. My sister grabbed my arm abruptly, her pitch-black eyes staring at me intensely as if trying to suck me in. Little sister, let's switch back. She shook her head. No, I'm not feeling well. Could you accompany me to the hospital tomorrow? I was about to refuse when a fleeting image flashed through my mind, and some terrifying memory surged forth with my current intuition. I lowered my gaze, letting it rest on my sister's belly. Could it be what I'm thinking? The hospital my sister mentioned must be the Shin family's private hospital. In my past life, when I was 18 years old, Shin Yushio took me there. He personally performed the surgery, removed my uterus, then smiled with satisfaction and whispered in my ear, Ran, now you won't get pregnant, without children, from now on, you'll belong to your brother alone. Is Shin Yushio going to remove my sister's uterus too? Does sister want me to go instead of her? I clenched my fists tightly, but still couldn't hold back, raising my hand to slap my sister hard across the face, as if she couldn't feel the pain. My sister grabbed my arm tightly again. Little sister, you must come with me, you have to go, you must go. I pushed her away violently and said in the most vicious tone, Shushi, go to hell. I ran out of the dormitory and called Li Qingyan. Soon my sister came out too, chasing after me like a vengeful ghost. Little sister, don't run, come back. I kept running toward the school gate until I crashed headlong into Li Qingyan's arms. Catch her, my sister shrieked, seeing me stop. She laughed excitedly and charged at me. Little sister, aren't you my good sister? Since you're my sister, you should sacrifice yourself for me. Li Qingyan pushed his sister away as she leaned in. His sister's expression turned fierce, about to lunge at him, but when she clearly saw Li Qingyan's face, she froze in shock. After a long while, she finally snapped out of it, shaking her head frantically. Your legs, how are you standing? Why is this happening? You too, Li Qingyan, let her go. Why are you protecting her? Wouldn't it be better if she died? Shouldn't you hate her? What, you still don't know, do you? She's your stepmother's pawn, she's been spying on you for her, and she even wants you dead. Li Qingyan shielded me tightly behind him. At that moment, Shin Yushio arrived. 12. When my sister saw Shin Yushio, she completely broke down. She immediately knelt at Shin Yushio's feet. Brother, please spare me. Don't alter my brain, I'll die. She suddenly pointed at me again. Shu-ran is your sister, she should be your sister, not me, not me. You love Shu-ran, take her back. She desperately kowtowed to Shin Yushio until blood seeped from her forehead. Spare me, spare me. Shin Yushio gently helped my sister up and smiled at me and Li Qingyan. Ran, your sister has been very emotionally unstable lately, I'll take her home first. No matter how hard she struggled, my sister couldn't break free from Shin Yushio's grip. She was dragged into the car by him. I know that once sister is taken back by Shin Yushio this time, she will completely lose her freedom. Just as I was about to keep watching, I was already pulled into the car by Li Qingyan. After returning home, he finally asked me, what exactly is going on? What happened between your sister and Shin Yushio? Why did your sister say you're actually Shin Yushio's sister? I told Li Qingyan everything about my past life and admitted that I was reborn. Li Qingyan quickly accepted it. Because he had always doubted how an 8-year-old like me could possess such exceptional medical skills, now everything makes sense. So, in our past lives, you were by Shin Yushio's side, while my companion was your sister. I nodded. Li Qingyan came over and hugged me. In our past life, did you become just like your sister too? I cried in Li Qingyan's arms, pouring out all my vulnerability, grievances, and resentment. Shin Yushio is a monster. He forcibly removed my uterus when I was 18 because he didn't want me to have children. He refused to share me with anyone, kept me caged, and chained me. Ran. Li Qingyan murmured my name while holding me tightly. That was all in the past life. Now it's me who's by your side. He released me, cupped my face, and said, Ran, look at me, it's me. I'll protect you. I won't let anyone hurt you. Tears blurred my vision, but I could still clearly see Li Qingyan's face. All the negative emotions in my heart gradually dissipated. I took a deep breath. I'll protect myself too. Good. Li Qingyan held me tighter again. Big brother will give you whatever you want, as long as you can become strong enough to protect yourself. I'll do anything you ask. 13. With irrefutable evidence, even with the best lawyers, the billionaire's wife couldn't overturn the case. What awaited her was the death penalty. But it was clear that Li Qingyan no longer cared about the billionaire's wife now. He told me, Ran, I will avenge you. I understand what he meant. He would take action against Shin Yushio. I held his hand. Brother, don't act impulsively. Let's first see if Shin Yushio makes any moves, after being reborn. I never intended to seek revenge, I just want to live my life well, to become strong enough to protect myself from anyone's harm. Li Qingyan didn't bring up revenge again, but then I received a call from Shin Yushio. He asked to meet me. Naturally, I refused, but then my sister's heart-wrenching screams came through the phone. Ran, did you hear that? Shin Yushio's gloomy, eerie voice carried a hint of amusement. That's your sister. She killed you in your past life, and now in this life. She's fallen into your brother's hands. I'll avenge you. My hand loosened, and my phone almost fell. All the hairs on my body stood on end. Shin Yushio, you. Shin Yushio's laughter came through the phone, creeping into my ears like a chilling wind blowing up from hell. Little sister, I've been reborn too. After killing your sister, I was imprisoned for 10 years. The moment I got out, I came straight to find you. I told you before, even if we have to go to hell, I'll be with you. I abruptly hung up the phone. That demon has returned, he's come for me, but this time, I can't just sit back and do nothing. 14. I went to see Shin Yushio. He had my sister tied up in a villa in the suburbs, locked in a cage with chains. When my sister saw me, she broke down in tears, screaming with all her might, "Save me, little sister, save me." Shin Yushio walked over and pulled me into his embrace, his voice brimming with longing. Ran, you came after all. I knew you wouldn't abandon your brother. Ran, I've missed you so much. For 10 years, I've thought of you every day, but I had to leave to find you. Did you miss me? I shoved him away violently, glaring at him with pure hatred. Shin Yushio, I hate you. Shin Yushio wasn't angered. Instead, he smiled. It was a twisted smile, one filled with excitement, bloodlust, and cruelty. Ran, you do love me. You just don't realize it yourself. I took a deep breath. Shin Yushio, do you love me? I love you. Ran, of course I love you. Shin Yushio came over and hugged me again. Ran, I love you. I love you. I leaned close to his ear and said word by word, then how about you go die? Shin Yushio's body stiffened. The next moment, police officers rushed in. Hands up. Shin Yushio merely glanced at the police before his gaze returned to my face. He laughed again, but this time it carried a hint of desolation. Ran, I love you. He looked into my eyes while stepping back, repeating those 3 words, I love you, until he retreated into the cage, helped his sister up, and unfastened the collar around her neck. Just when everyone thought he was going to let his sister go, a knife suddenly appeared in his hand, its sharp blade sliding across her neck. They also left the choice to us sisters. Jean, sister collapsed to the ground. Shin Yushio also fell to the ground. The bullet struck Shin Yushio squarely between the eyebrows, leaving a streak of crimson. His eyes remained fixed on me, a smile playing at the corners of his lips. My legs gave way as if all strength had drained from my body, and I collapsed. Ran. Li Qingyan caught me, then roared furiously after confirming I was unharmed. Why didn't you tell me? Who told you to take such risks? Li ran. Are you trying to get yourself killed? I hugged him. Brother, it's all over. Everything is over. Li Qingyan was still shaken, but he still held me. It's over. After leaving the villa, I got into Li Qingyan's car. He took me to the police station to give my statement. Stepping out of the police station, it was just noon. The autumn sunlight was exceptionally bright. I rolled down the car window to let the cool autumn breeze in, then looked outside. Li Qingyan steered with one hand while freeing the other to hold mine, giving it a gentle squeeze. I turned my head to look at him, and we exchanged a knowing smile. The golden sunlight streamed in, illuminating both of our smiling faces. The end.